played. Well, maybe that's not my fault. Maybe they were just not memorable enough. There, I said
True.
it. That's rough.
True.
You know what's always memorable? Any Toronto Defiant game, because they are not playing around. But neither did Nightmare. This is going to be hopefully a closer match than what we're used to from NA finals. Nightmare played it close yesterday already in that upper bracket final. Let's see if they can do it again. Let's dissect it. Let's run it back. Let's talk about what happened in their first meeting and who was, standing out to you. Looking at Toronto Defiant, I mean, yeah, they're the team to beat. We know exactly what we can get from them. We know that they can be versatile as a team. But in the straight-up mirror match yesterday, they didn't look as hot as we would have expected them to be.
Yeah, they didn't look phenomenal in the mirror. I think Nightmare actually had their number a little bit, but I think going into this match, Toronto's actually going to shy away from it. And I don't think that's a show of weakness. I think that's a show of strength, because this Toronto roster is the core of the Florida Mayhem, who won Season 6. Just saying.
Okay. We get the point. We get the point.
This is how they've been drilled. This is how they've been trained. If you aren't confident you can win 100% in these mirror metas, it is not showing a weakness playing off of your flexibility. So I really want to highlight RuPaul and Vega. They really have the flexibility in the supports. They pulled it out yesterday playing the Winston, the Kiriko on Vega. That's what I would highlight for Toronto Defiant.
Yeah, Nightmare, they've been all out dominant today, and in their match yesterday, they pulled out some unorthodox strats, but as we just said, they took the mirror and they won it. Do you want them to switch something out, or are we actually in that moment in time, in a timeline somehow, where it is Toronto Defiant that has to stray away from the current meta?
Yeah, I think Nightmare should stick with what we consider the meta, because honestly, they've looked really clean in it, and I think that is the biggest advantage they have. And unlike the EMEA finals we saw earlier today, Nightmare's already seen kind of what Toronto Defiant can do, right? They're going to bring out the Brig and Ana on some maps where they can't do that, of course. They're going to flex over to the Zenyatta and the Sugar-Free Tracer, if that allows them to, because that could be a local, like we saw in Saravasa yesterday. But Nightmare, they've had a day to really sit on that and think about it, and like, what do we want to do to respond to that? So not only are you feeling really good about the mirror, now you can also cook up some counter strats if you'd like to as well, which could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear from them, from both of these teams, how they dealt with the loss yesterday or with the victory, respectively. We do, in fact, have a dual coach interview standing by. Kosaurus and SNR should be joining us for this one, so we can pick their brains and potentially get absolutely zero insight, because, of course, they don't want to show us anything for their upcoming match. But let's try anyway. Starting with you, Kosaurus. This was the first time we actually saw you guys breaking a bit of a sweat there. What were your key takeaways? Why was that match so close, you think?
So the key takeaways are that Nightmare is pretty good at the one comp, right? But once they see anything that is not the meta comp, once they get a little surprised, they seem to be caught off guard. So we're looking to bring a lot more of that today.
All right, I'm going to take the other side. SNR, your team was so close to beating Toronto, and not a lot of teams could do that. How are you and your players feeling going into the grand finals for NA?
Bro, we're just happy to be here. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this is just a great experience. I think everyone's like very excited that we made it this far. It's our first time we're in a grand finals. I think last stage we were like Toronto dropped to lower brackets. We felt like we were kind of robbed of a grand final spot. So I think we're really happy to run it back. I mean, we played it close yesterday. I would disagree. I think we're also pretty good at Ryan, not just the rest of the comp. So we got that going for ourselves.
The Reinhardt is big. Yeah. SNR, what is kind of like the weakness, you think? What is kind of the weakness of Toronto?
I think it has to be the mirror comp, right? I mean, that's just has to be it. I mean, like, I don't think they're bad at it. I just think we're better. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I think you guys have set pretty clear boundaries here. Nightmare's going to try and play the mirror. Toronto's going to try and potentially counter a little bit. I was highlighting the supports there. How do you feel about your backline's flexibility? I'm sure you feel it plays a big part as to why you're able to play this match so confident, correct, Kosaurus?
Yeah, we showed it in Saudi at the Esports World Cup. We've been showing it all this year. I think we've been able to play every single comp and every single meta, and that's why we're the back to back to back, and we're looking to add one more back to that today.
Well, can I ask one more question as well? Did I just hear like a Vast or someone in the background, Kosaurus? What is going on there? I heard screaming in the back. Is that the players?
Yeah, we've got a Vast locked in the basement. He's somewhere here.
Is that a lucky charm of some sort, or like a blood offering? What are we looking at?
That depends on the result today, whether it's a blood offering or not.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. We're willing to do it. Thank you both so much and best of luck in the grand finals.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, boys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Kasaras and SNR joining us for a quick chat heading into this match.
Lock in the base.
Pray for a Vast.
Pray for a Vast.
Vast, are you okay?
Send some F's in chat. And blink twice if you need some help on your co-stream, because people of course are watching. He's our featured co-streamer of the day, live from the Toronto basement, as we just learned. Let's take a look at our predictions for this one. I'm gonna get dragged for this one, but you know, say one thing about me, say I commit. Toronto, they got this in the bag, 4-0. They're a team that comes back more scary than ever once they get tested. I feel like they poked the bear yesterday, and the bear is angry. This is gonna be another W on the board. We're gonna go home early. We're gonna have some drinks, Danny. I haven't seen you in a while, so thanks, Toronto. Cheers to that.
Yeah, hope that works. I mean, I am also going for Toronto. I am giving a Nightmare one map. I do feel like
Wow.
one map.
So nice.
No, for them, if they do for their map choices, I think Nightmare do have the power to at least get one map win. But I mean, they are going up against Toronto. They're, like Kasora said, back-to-back champion. They came a second in EWC. They are probably one of the strongest teams that we have in OWC. Yes.
Yep, 100%. I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm going to stick with the script. I am going Toronto, but I am going to go 4-2.
Ooh, okay. What's the 2 for?
I do think with so many map selections, I do think Nightmare is going to essentially not hard force Toronto onto this meta composition, but they're going to make them deviate in a way where they kind of have to, you know, stay close to that meta. Maybe you'll see the Zen and the Tracer, but I think Nightmare will have a better answer for that this time around.
I'm going 4-1. I can't wait to see Nightmare win and prove us all wrong.
Wait, what?
That's not what that says.
No, but I'm saying prove us wrong. Like, we'll all be wrong, yeah.
Got me for a second.
You know what? If that happens, I'm down for it.
I love being wrong.
Absolute
if it leads
cinema.
to surprises.
I've been wrong a lot.
Cinema. We got the sign ready for
I'll eat
action
fish.
as well.
If I'm wrong, I'll eat fish.
You like the fish.
Yeah,
No one
bring
gains
it back.
anything.
I'll eat meat.
There, wait.
Well,
There we
that's...
go. Here.
I'll eat
There
protein.
you go. That's for you, Dan.
What is that?
That's for you.
Keep us here. Have one.
Oh, is this the thing that you guys ate yesterday?
Yeah.
Why are there so many? You guys didn't.
Oh, we've got more.
We really like
We have
kippers.
more.
And you should too if you would join us in Stockholm for the DreamHack. So make sure to grab your tickets now. For now, though, we're heading into our grand final to find out who's coming on top of the NA region with that first seed. Really something that you want heading into the World Finals. Jack, Jen, take it away.
Thank you very much. No, Danny, I don't want the kippers. No, I'm good. Maybe I have some later.
You're so good, though.
Crack them open later.
They are good.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll ship some to you, Jen. We'll ship, you know.
No, I'm good. You know
We'll
what? That's
open
all
them
you, man.
and then ship them to you. They won't go bad. Probably not. Probably not. Toronto Defiant versus Nightmare. Finals here. Stage 4. It's the last game of the regular season before we head into Stockholm next month. Can Toronto just continue their streak from the entire year? The most dominant team in North America that we've ever seen versus Nightmare, a team that took them to 5 maps yesterday. Finally, potentially, maybe we'll see taking down the gods of North America. Is it possible, Jen?
I don't know. Nightmare has certainly gone to a lot of Game 5s against Toronto Defiant, not only in this bracket, of course, but in Stage 3, where Nightmare got 3rd place, all thanks to Toronto Defiant. But kind of like what the Nightmare coach said has been reflected by the players online. It's just a dream come true to them to be able to go to Stockholm. And I'm sure there's going to be a rematch against Toronto Defiant there. Toronto fully expected to see Nightmare rematch against them in the grand final. A lot of respect between these two teams. And lower stakes, quote unquote, because they both have enough points to go to Stockholm. But who's going to get that #1 seed from North America, which is going to be higher than the point system, which is something Toronto very much want. Of course, Nightmare as well, but Toronto are the team to beat.
And the extra moolah as well, of course. Don't forget that. Point and moolah. Don't mind me. All right. Toronto Defiant. And they're picking Ilios. Now, in their series yesterday, Jen, this was a 2-0 to Nightmare.
Yeah, the really fun prepped comps from Nightmare, thinking about the Rhine Sim May on Lighthouse to even the double flanker Winston with the Sombra and the Tracer. But now Toronto know what to expect. So I don't know if Nightmare can bring out the shenanigans. They certainly didn't do that coming out on Ilios against their last opponent, TSM. And, you know, Toronto know they can beat them in the mirror, and they're only good at one comp, quote unquote. We'll see how Nightmare do with this one.
Sad we're not seeing. Oh, no, we are. Okay, Seeker on the Widowmaker. That's exactly what I wanted to see. There's one guy you can always rely on. It is definitely Seeker. That's a filthy angle. Oh, no.
You hear Sugar Free. You already hear him stomping around, or Genji. I don't know. Or it's just Sugar Free. But Zero's there to maybe keep him down.
Comes in, you're like, okay, I know exactly where you're going to be posted up. Seeing the way that Mega Pack as well. Sugar Free not really a factor in this fight currently, but same could be said for Sugar Free, Seeker in a way. Veg's taking a lot of harassment here in the front line. Seeker just unable to find a headshot at all at this current moment in time. It's Toronto Defiant. They claim the point first. This Widowmaker comp, if it finds a pick, it's go button. But the problem is if you don't, I mean, Sugar Free's just putting out way more damage than you.
Good spacing from Infected. Like, he had his armor popped and still managed to maintain a position in this map, because dying would have costed even more time, and Nightmare can now re-engage, while Sugar Free is still hunting for Seekers, so not being able to brawl against Infected. But despite that, Merit, Vega still very threatening. Now the Orbital Ray first from Nightmare.
He had one shot at taking down that Tracer. That headshot went a little bit wide, but Merit is actually going to go down as Nightmare end up pushing on with their Juno ult. They go 10% behind. Normally the Juno's, you know, roughly getting them at the same time, but Nightmare making the proactive play there, using theirs first.
Yeah, Terra Surge from Nightmare just to get the ball rolling. This is two teams who have tempoed so well against each other. Seeker misses the grapple. Oh, okay, that was a little scary. Still getting harassed. And
there you go, Sugar Free does take down Seeker, but Merit is also going to fall. The Terra Surges are going to be on top of those Juno ults, those orbital rays, making Infected pay for pushing up that far. As Nightmare, they are losing the point currently as RuPaul and someone just kind of run over the rest. And as soon as Seeker is eliminated on the Widowmaker, the rest of the team are just so free to use the space they're normally confined to. You know, those pillars, the small rooms. And now Seeker, yeah, deciding to go over to Casti, wants to front load the damage some more.
And when I say high tempo for Toronto Defiant, that means taking early fights, taking very quick fights. Speed ring execution. They're just such an aggressive team. And I think Nightmare know exactly what they're up against. They've been able to tempo against them. That's how they're able to 2-0 them on a map like Control in their previous encounter. Now Nightmare have 0 with Blade, but you need people to get low enough, and using that Terra Surge, that's not going to be an option.
Recall coming in for Sugar Free. Almost to the perfect point as well. Blade has been popped by Zera. Just used that orbital ray to get a lot of damage in, but a lot of that was actually being soaked up by that spear spin. Gets one final tickling of damage on the Cassidy. It is someone to fall first. We'll see if Toronto Defiant can turn this one around. With RuPaul dead, seems very unlikely. Still though, Toronto with 80% in building, they're still managing to stall this one out. Is Sugar Free throughout the pulse bomb, and he's staggering the point somewhat fierce. Okay, Toronto still with 90% or thereabouts. As Nightmare, they do get the cap in the end.
Yeah, for Zero to go for that Blade, I was really worried because all of Toronto Defiant were very, very healthy. But like you said, the orbital raid, the extra damage, take down someone. This is the pillar to Toronto Defiant. If you kill someone, that team falls apart. They still try to flip a 4v5, but it's really tough to go up against an Orisa when you don't have one of your own. But you have your own orbital raid now, this time from Vega, but you got to be close enough to Nightmare.
It's going to be so hard. They're going to use this high noon to try and get them to disengage. The Terra Surge comes in. Oh, the shots hit. There's no initial kills, but Seeker does the damage for the rest of the team to finish this fight up. Nightmare, they've got a lot of time to play with still, 70%. So Toronto are going to get another attack, but now the pendulum swinging in Nightmare's favor, surviving that orbital ray push from Toronto Defiant. Now they've got one of their own for this final fight, and they can mix it with the Blade.
Yeah, that was huge. The rally and the Terra Surge just to punish Toronto, following up with their own orbital ray. But the same thing can be done on the other side. Orbital ray from Nightmare. Guess what? Terra Surge from someone. This is not a tank you want to mess with. But the Orisa, this is a more even matchup. He may be just the best Winston on Earth, but man, Orisa, this could be anyone's game.
It's a miracle right now if you win this, if you're Toronto. Oh, the triple Shuriken headshot straight into the Blade. Oh, that's over. No coming back from that one. Rubbing salt in the wounds there. Seeker taking out Sugar Free in the skies. Does Nightmare take the first round?
Yeah, just so much damage from Nightmare to force someone to pull the trigger on the Terra Surge early so you don't get as much damage from it. And Toronto couldn't suppress Nightmare off from the orbital ray push. So very good aggression from Nightmare to take the first round. And despite revisiting Ilios, despite Toronto maybe feeling so confident in the mirror, they fall exactly to that. but a lot of respect from both sides. We're going to go to, well, we're expecting the double flanker. Great deflect. Zera pulls out the blade, knowing the break is executable. You get the dash reset, and he just doesn't stop finding the Genji in the air too. So expect now the Tracer Sombra from Nightmare with the Lucio Kiri. They are so fast with this comp.
This is exactly what Kusoras was saying, especially with swapping up comps here. This might be a bit of a problem for Nightmare. Not running the true meta comp, right? The Orisa, the Juno, etc. Hard dive for Nightmare, and Seeker on the Sombra. Didn't fall in the well this time. All good. You've reviewed that one. Got the path in
Different
right.
look out of Toronto too. Sugar Free is not on the Tracer. Last time it was the Sugar Free Tracer and Merit on Ashe. So Toronto switching things up.
It's good engage. Oh, Seeker with a very short Transicator. Might not even matter, to be fair. Admiral Vega trades, Seeker super low, Transicates back to his Kiriko. Nightmare in control of the point as well. These dives can be very deadly if Seeker gets a manual hack. Even better if he lands the virus too. Zera spots the dive coming in, wants to join the rest of his team. Rinfei to go super low, but someone's already dead. End up trading Winston, so it's all in the support and DPS now to try and turn this fight around. But Zera in the right place at the right time, just harassing Sugar Free, so Sugar Free can't go for an aggressive engage. Speaking of which, RuPaul survives that one. A hack and a virus coming through, but an anti-nade and a breakback is enough to heal him up.
Sugar Free's a pretty good echo, and this is going to allow him to have more escapability compared to the Tracer Ashe setup that Toronto had last time. But now you still need to connect on the sticky bombs, the focusing beam, and you're still a very shootable target. You do not want to be close to a Sombra Tracer.
All right, well, they're going to go for this anyway, despite Merit being dead before the fight even begins. Nano boost on the Echo. I mean, that fight's over. See you later, RuPaul. Taking a quick ice bath there off of the map.
And Toronto's primary Tracer is Sugar Free. He's one of the best ones in North America, and Merit more known for his long-range hit scan. Definitely a serviceable Tracer, but you may see the edge go to Zera in that regard, especially, you know, having a Lucio, having a Kiri, just the amount of speed and amount of relentlessness you'll see out of Nightmare to support Zera on these pushes. And now Seeker can also give them info where the push is coming from.
RuPaul is in the spawn. They're playing so far back, fearing this EMP. Seeker dodges out of the way of those sticky bombs as overtime's coming in just a moment. And with Nightmare in control, they're looking good to finish this round out. They got EMP. Prime Rage is going to get popped first from someone. Has to get out of that rush, and the EMP lands. Rally comes in from Toronto Defiant. Seeker's EMP, I'm not sure it even hit anybody, to be fair. I didn't see any hack targets in the little UI up top. That rally's good for Vega too. Keeps someone in the fight, keeps everybody topped up. The duplication going on to the Lucio. Sugar Free, a little bit of additional healing here from the Echo. Doesn't end up getting a sound barrier, but he's done enough damage, I think. Toronto have one person capping as well this whole time, so they have no fear of OT running out and the map being over as they find a team kill.
Just an absolute maze back there. I'm not surprised you sometimes can't connect on that EMP. Just any kind of block of LOS will stop that. And the sound barrier was such a good initiation from Nightmare, but just couldn't find those targets in time. Toronto scattered, and Nightmare couldn't lock down a good targets. And that's the comp change that Toronto needed to escape from that very speedy dive that Nightmare had brought out. Zera, though, can get a good pulse. He's trying to find his way into the back here with Seeker.
Zera and Seeker there looking to collapse on Merit with a manual hack. Didn't end up happening. Pulse bomb available. Oh, stick on the brick shield. What perfect reactions there from Vega. One ult down. Nano boost comes in. Seeker, no Transicator available. Now someone could just run amok in the back line. Maybe even Infected Force too. He's pretty low. Same with Zera. Zera just ends up throwing himself on the map, thinking that he just needs to get a quick reset. That was all on Vega, that fight. If you died to Pulse Bomb there, the round's pretty much over, I would have thought.
to lose the previous fight when you had Barrier, Kitsune Rush, EMP, that might be just the map killer for Nightmare. They can build up towards that again. It's going to be up to this Kitsune Rush Sound Barrier once again up for Nightmare, and Infected be aggro with the Primal, but he's taking the initiative.
CJ still got the Swift Steps instantly there to Infected, doesn't want to get booped off the map, but Seeker's already down. 75% and building now for Toronto Defiant, and Nightmare are down a player, meaning they have to regroup or find a pick. And it doesn't look like they're going to find one because Sugar Free is in their spawn, copying the Tracer, chasing around Admiral, trying to force this sound barrier from the team. He's not going to force it. It's actually Nightmare just slinging themselves forward. A stick onto Infected. There's a whole lot of damage in that small room, but look at how healthy he is. Just standing in that rush the entire time, and Nightmare just overwhelmed Toronto Defiant, and Vegas not even able to get that rally off. A Pulse-Storm connection onto someone who tries to trigger OT, but Nightmare, just like yesterday, a clean 2-0 on Ilios to start the series off.
Ooh, Winston from Infected starting to be able to mirror or counter someone to just play at his level. Infected solo killed both supports with the Primal. That's what turned around the fight when Toronto took the initiative with someone primaling, starting to kill Seeker, go after the DPS. Toronto understood they just needed to out-tempo with Sombra, because Sombra needs time to set up. She needs time to go invisible, to find a position, to come out of stealth, and maybe play off of the Tracer. Toronto knew they need to be proactive, so they did. But Nightmare still found a way to break out of their own spawn, to deal with someone, force them back, and then Infected popped the Primal to kill both supports, and that let Zero kind of finish the job. So great on Nightmare to take kind of a tidal wave and kind of spit it right back at Toronto. What a fun map.
Hey, you take them to the map. They beat you on yesterday. I love the confidence there, the gumption from Toronto Defiant, thinking, hey, we can just beat you on it. It's fine. We've done the review. We've looked at the maps. We looked at your match as well, your series earlier on. We know how to beat you, but I guess apparently not. Toronto Defiant up a map. Sorry, Nightmare up a map already. And yesterday, Toronto, after losing Ilios, they did go straight to Watchpoint Gibraltar. So more dive for the team. We'll see if the same can be said for this next map, unless we go to somewhere else. But I've got a good feeling we're going to be sticking to the same sort of script the script writers wrote yesterday here, Lemon.
It's going to be different when you have Sugar Free back on his primary heroes like a Tracer or a Genji. Of course, Marriott just has less time on it compared to his compatriot there. So I think Zero is going to not be diffing as much going up against Sugar Free. This is going to be a closer affair. And Nightmare, they get brought back to Ilios, and Toronto bring up the different strats, but it still wasn't enough. Toronto did do a good job of out-positioning some of the ultimates they expected, you know, being able to zone themselves away from an EMP, for Toronto to win a Lucio Barrier, Kitsune Rush, and EMP fight out of Nightmare. Toronto can deal with that aggression pretty well, but where did Toronto want to bring us now? It's going to be up, well, the stats are pretty even, and this whole matchup has been pretty even. I could easily expect another Game 5
Yeah,
here.
I hope so. Well, longer than that. I mean, it's first to 4, so maybe even a Game 7.
Oh, yeah, true.
Maybe even a Game 7.
All the way to 7.
Exactly. Finals here, of course. We play the extra map. Just want to squeeze as much time as possible. Just make sure we know definitively who is the best team in North America for Stage 4. Now, yeah, I think Watchpoint Gibraltar makes the most sense to me. Of course, yeah, look at that long bracket, just like Overwatch of old. Speaking of Overwatch of old, way back. Like some, I feel like before some of you were even born at this point, but Apex, when we were playing the best of 3, best of 7, you play 3 best of 7s and see who can win out of those ones. Just like a horribly long day of Overwatch. But yeah, fond memories from back then. But bringing it back to the present, Toronto Defiant, their map selection now, and they are going to pick, wow, New Queen Street.
Wow.
Okay, the complete opposite of what I've said. We're not going to Watchpoint Gibraltar, not Escort. We're going to push New Queen Street, which has not been a map selection we've seen in a hot minute. It has been Esperanza, Runasapi throughout both regions. In fact, most regions at this moment in time. So clearly, Toronto are picking up some spice here. Hometown advantage, not entirely sure. You don't get the damage buff, I'm sorry. But they've clearly got something spicy in their back pocket that they want to unleash here.
Yeah, the back room of Toronto Defiant. I mean, Kasora is one of the smartest coaches you can have, and so glad he's on this team because they have prepared something special for Nightmare. And this is, again, an Orisa matchup. Kind of surprised they didn't want to try to Winston Mirror, but maybe shifting things away, giving a chance for Sugar Free to shine now on the Tracer, going up against maybe Zira in a second.
I like this comp. Zera Tracer. Okay, sticking with that one. Zen versus Zen. We're so back. Zen Brig versus Zen Juno. Toronto Defiant. Their small twist on the meta comp currently. No Brig. More of an aggressive backline. But they are against the ball and the Widowmaker. So the Zen's life, although nice, you know, against the ball sometimes, that can happen right there. Seeker can just blow your brains out, and that is exactly what's just happened. A little bit annoying now, and much easier for the Wrecking Ball too at this point.
Wow, yeah, Seeker's just front and center at the top of this. Not the easiest position to access, but both Merit on the Ashe and Seeker are going to want to have a slower playstyle. They're not as mobile, and Seeker could be chased down by Sugarfree, of course. And I think RuPaul and CJ have to keep themselves hidden from any potential fire and see if they can provide an important Discord orb to dismantle these Orissas.
Seekers are almost up to sight. Merit on the Sombra, spots the Widow, sees her grappling away. Maybe going for a manual hack on Zera. It does get it. Virus misses. Orb of Harmony, though, luckily applied pretty early, and a good whip shot from Abril. Merit not quite throwing that Translocator far enough to escape. A Seeker now on a rather nasty angle to deal with if you're Toronto Defiant, especially with sights up and RuPaul's dead. Toronto Defiant are just getting run over right now by Nightmare.
Uh-oh. Someone is sticking around too, and okay, he's got his Tracer there of Sugarfree, so it's a bit more of a comfortable position. Nightmare could go for stagger kills to extend this, but Merit, I wouldn't say Sombra is in his top 3 best heroes. You know, missing that Translocator is going to hurt the tempo of Toronto. He's already back though, and it's an Orbital Ray from Vega that's available. Gets the Transcendence of CJ to help stabilize Nightmare. All about time.
It cancelled! Vega's ultimate cancelled by Infected. Oh, that is absolutely tragic. I've seen enough. Get Avast out of the dungeon, sacrifice him. Someone needs help, Toronto Defiant right now. RuPaul, Vega, they're going to change up the comp as well. Same with someone. They're going to go to Ana Brig and the Diva. They are just getting bowled over. Nightmare not giving up a single meter, have the checkpoint, and then some now.
And this is Toronto's pick, so I'm hoping Plan B and Plan C we're playing in advance, but man, Zera's out of control.
I mean, the backline, they do end up trading, but look at the ults from Nightmare here. They can push on with the rally. If there's a hard engage here from Toronto Defiant, they might just want to pop it, although with Seeker dead, maybe not. Yeah, Admiral goes down. Yeah, smart to not use that ultimate there. You don't want to go for any sort of hero play. All right, some semblance of control now from Toronto Defiant. Merit's got EMP, Seeker switches off of the Widowmaker, so no fear of the super long-range hit scan anymore, any of those one-shots. See if they can claw this one back.
And at least the DPS from Toronto are starting to understand, they're not starting to understand, but they really accomplished their roles in that last fight. Merit assassinating Seeker, now he's off the Widow, he doesn't want to deal with that. Sugarfree pulses a support. That's what you need to see out of Toronto. Now, the execution of EMP, this is a pretty open area, depending on if Nightmares don't play inside these small rooms. You can see a lot of value out of Merit.
Good EMP. Follow-ups there too. You see Admiral kind of shield bashing towards Infected. Get down, Mr. President. Oh, okay. EMP's AoE. Right, my bad. Nice, nice stuff there from Vega too. Seeker going further than I thought you could live. The kill box killing him eventually. All right, okay. Here we go. Toronto Defiant. One big ultimate use. They've got 4 coming up for this next fight, and it's going to be the checkpoint fight as well on top of that.
The Diva from someone also allows you to have a bit more chaseability, if that's even a word, to maybe run after Infected. If he misses any grapple, if he's awkward, you need to pounce on Infected as soon as possible, and he pounces in with, of course, some mines.
Yeah, some mines laid on the point. Very high usage of the mines too, so no one caught off immediately. Rally comes in from Admiral, a shield bash into the front line, but a pulse bomb is going to get dropped on the floor. A nano boost onto someone, a fearsome foe at the best of times, and with the nano boost, I wouldn't test a whole 100 players against him, to be honest with you. Admiral does end up falling. Zera with the pulse bomb, ends up trying to ego pulse Sugarfree and ends up missing it completely. Infected is super low with someone on the point holding down the fort for now. With only 3 meters to go, this checkpoint is right around the corner for Toronto Defiant. Now Nightmare with this comp swap they're dealing with. I don't really know how to play around it by the looks of it. They're just getting pushed all the way back. A true pendulum swing of a map once again.
Yeah, Toronto did lose some people, so it's okay to get the forward spawn and just recollect yourselves. In fact, it's done a really good job on the Hammond, getting a pile drive target almost every single time and catching a tracer, forcing out a recall, a blink. Merritt's now off the summer because he's just been such a glass cannon. He wants something a bit more stable, even a hinder grenade to stop the Hammond, because in fact, it's just been such a nuisance. Look at this again.
More orbital ray coming in. Heals needs to get applied to Merritt ASAP. He's out of the window and out of harm's way for the time being. Someone does end up using that self-destruct to try and mean Meg, but gets shield bashed by Admiral. Whole lot of damage that. Shield bashed in the, do you know what? Eventually killed. A couple of meters were gained as well by Sugar Free, but that was about it. Looks like they're going to retreat.
Still a lead for Nightmare with 4 minutes. You got Mines too to just hold space even longer, but could you actually get it in the middle of the fight? In fact, it was a bit early last time, just kept Toronto trapped in rooms. But then, of course, you have a nano from RuPaul. Sugar Free, if the Tracer's in a prime position, it's not a bad call to give it to Sugar Free either.
Good reposition there from Toronto Defiant. In fact, he was trying to get the Mines kill on Merritt, but the entirety of Toronto ended up moving through the big mega health pack route. He's going to try the same thing again by the looks of it. High noon spot.
Someone needs nano.
On high ground. Ooh. Another overeager post-bomb by Zera there. As their nano boost is applied, and it's applied to someone once more. Bot moving in Toronto Defiant's favor right now is Nightmare, hugging Coast. Not exactly where they want to be very honest with you. Same with Infected, a good sleep and a bash as well. There's no way Nightmare survived this one. Oh, a good stick onto the high ground, a whole lot of damage and easy follow-up for the rest of Defiance. These stagger kills could be quite deadly here, Lemon, because look at where the body's currently. Toronto Defiant are moving it as Nightmare are slowly getting cleaned up.
Yeah, this is going to give Toronto Defiant the lead here in a second, and Nightmare are going to swap to the Orisa. And Nightmare got so many targets low, but Toronto's spacing is just out of this world. They're able to recollect themselves, nano someone for the retaliation, and the lead goes to Toronto's favor.
Their lead melting away like an ice cream on a hot summer's day. Nightmare, they've got the rally. They can come back into this fight. They can potentially win here with just that single ultimate, but Toronto Defiant, they're standing tall. They have this high ground advantage. They're playing so far back. A comp swap here as well. Of course, Orisa being a little bit better against the Diva. Becerra is just getting kind of rolled by Sugar Free on the left-hand side, and no way he's going for this. Someone just lobs the self-destruct in, not even using it for an extra life. Eventually, Nightmare trying to get it going with this rally, but they can't afford to use anything extra here, especially with 2 minutes to go. They want to just chase Toronto Defiant away from the bot and save the Juno ult for a next clean engagement.
I like that window of engage from Nightmare. You saw someone throw the bomb, knew he was out of position. Nightmare went for it. They zoned them off, and the Deadeye to keep Toronto away, coming through the window.
Oh, Vega didn't see him. He was moving like an F1 car. Straight through the window, easy shot in the back. Nightmare are now up 1, and without a DPS, Toronto Defiant's chances of winning this fight slim to none. CJ going pretty low though, as someone manages to score him out with a couple of pellets. Sugar Free that entire time was just peppering the back line with his pulse pistols, and RuPaul gets a nade kill on Seeker. Sugar Free hitting the recall, and Nightmare not sure what's going on. Head hit the pavement, concussion, confused, dazed, as Nightmare end up losing this fight, and are gonna lose maybe this map. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go, 130 meters to 77 now.
That was a must-win fight for Nightmare, especially at the neutral position. That was their chance to take back the lead, to fight back for it. And now you have to go get it. You have to win consecutive ones just to even reach the end destination. 113 to 77, and the proactive rally from Vega.
Rally, Terror Surge. Oh, Vega. Yeah, there's no way. The Terror Surge with the blade, even with the rally, no shot you're surviving that. Quick deaths here for Toronto Defiant all around, or reset. Nightmare, they end up winning this fight, but they're going to be finishing near OT now, Lemon, with only 44 seconds to go.
You don't have any ults for this neutral point fight. It's going to be really tough. Someone's going to have a second life with the bomb. He did use it to be cheeky and spawn. I don't expect that to happen again. If he does, Nightmare need to immediately engage, hide away from the bomb, and run right after. Someone's at an off angle. Toronto's DPS exposed, even backline, but it's too far for Nightmare to reach.
I mean, rotation from Nightmare, looking like they want to go coast. Of course, they still have to check the bots. You at least want one person on an off angle here if you are Nightmare. But here comes the nano boost on someone yet again. Straight to the back line. just pitting Seeker up against the wall, demanding the lunch money. Does end up falling over as Toronto Defiant now have just got a split Nightmare. The rally does end up coming in, but a counter bash is coming through. Oh, the self-destruct right on top of him. The pulse bomb too. Just a big bang explosion. Admiral torn to smithereens. The raid does end up coming through for CJ, but Nightmare, you're not winning on the home map. Toronto Defiance with a 15-player kill streak on top of that for someone. They comp swap, deal with the Wrecking Ball, deal with the Widow, and they're going to tie the series one apiece now.
Such a good understanding of how to play D.Va when it comes out of someone knowing you don't have to care about the Orisa, kill everybody else. There was no stopping someone, especially when he would just get these nano engages, when he synced up so well with Sugar Free's Tracer. If it wasn't going to be one bomb that killed Admiral, it's going to be the other. Such an explosive day out of Toronto Defiant, who knew how to adapt against the Hammond composition, the double flankers, to get merit just to different heroes and eventually being able to find their stride. That's what makes Toronto such a fearsome team. It's not just their execution on one comp, but their ability to adapt and to overcome, to know their counters and know how to execute on those counters. So great job for Toronto to flip around a map that originally Nightmare had the lead on.
And Toronto bringing us to this map too. I mean, again, not something we usually see. Let's be real with ourselves. I love the comps they ended up rolling out with Lemon, but yeah, Infected Ball and then Seeker's ever so dependable Widowmaker. It's hard to play against. Obviously, with the compositional swaps like you were mentioning, and Merit specifically, you said, like swapping from the hit scan straight to the Sombra, try and stop Infected, like slamming the backline permanently, and then again, eventually rotating to hit scan once Nightmare ended up going back to the meta comp. Yeah, it looked good. And Nano Boost as well onto someone. I mean, D.Va is just Big Tracer for a reason, and someone makes it like that and more, right? It's just like a Big Tracer with infinite blinks. It's a little ridiculous. This is, yeah, we're probably used to the speed up now with the Cassidy High Noon, but with the speed ring as well, sometimes, sometimes a little tough for you to escape that one. That's just cruel. That is just Geneva Convention level stuff.
The spacing from Toronto playing as far back as they did, but the routes that someone would take to gap close, to not be, because D.Va doesn't like being out in the open, so he'd take the top tunnel and find his way to those supports, and just Toronto did a good job of, okay, Nightmare are really good at brawling, they have the Orisa, it's going to be slower than the D.Va, and just play as far away as you can. And Merit, once he had space, he didn't have a Hammond on top of him at all times, that's where you got to see Merit really shine. And then the Sugar Free Tracer is just pure cinema.
Pure cinema. That's what we like to see. Hey, EU, classic Mitch Uber Leslie moment where he gets the clean sweep of the finals. We're luckily, Lemon here, graced with at least a 1-1 for now, as we do go to New Junk City, picked by Nightmare.
New Junk City, a strong one for them. They did lose this to Fluffy Dreamland 3-1, but it's still something they don't mind going to. It's going to be about that Orisa matchup, maybe even the appearance of the Genji Sugar Free versus Zera, which Zera had an amazing performance against TSM, but this was a very disjointed TSM, one that lacked healing, one that Zera was able to quickly pounce on, but this is a whole different beast. You're talking about you're going up against the #1 team in North America of Toronto Defiant. So, and especially Merit, who once he swapped to the Cassidy on New Queen Street, you could not play Hammond, you could not just play any flanker and get on him. He was very good at suppressing any dives coming his way. So excited to see who will take the lead in the series from here.
I mean, Nightmare, when they last faced against each other on Flashpoint, they did go to Suravasa, and that was Toronto's pick, and Toronto 3-0'd them, so kind of adding on to what you were saying, definitely a reason maybe why they want to go here. All right, Junkerton City, let's go. It's Nightmare and Defiant. Meta comps, mirror on either side. Nothing crazy here, just standard, stock standard play.
Nightmare just won this against TSM, so they're warmed up and they come with a lot of momentum from that win, of course. While Toronto cold, quote unquote, but yeah. Nice warm up.
Yeah. Thanks to the warm-up scrim, guys. We'll take the finals now. Thank you. All right, TXCXX in motion. Although saying that, someone's cheating a little bit there. Actually trying to get Zera off the point as well. There you go, eventually. Okay, now we can commence the Genji versus Genji. Nice deflect. Ooh. Need to get healed, though. Sugar-free heal. Zera with a nice right click. Eventually, someone's going to die, guys. Don't worry. I foresee it. Ah, someone's joined the fights, finally. All right, Zera's out of there. Can't mess with that one, but you know what you can mess with? Seeker's Peacekeeper. Merit dead. RuPaul 2. Seeker with a nice little two-tap there. You see someone trying to get Zera off of the points. Oh, both are Orbital Race been popped. Very over-eager from Toronto. And you need some insane resets from the Genji to make this one work. There you go, Nightmare wins the first fight.
Important macro game there. So Sugar-Free versus Zera, just the duel that never ends. Someone got impatient, said, I'm gonna not respect this 1v1. But with someone out of the ring, or in the ring, it let Infected and Seeker get free shots on the rest of Toronto. That's what tilted the scales in Nightmare's favor. And Toronto never even capped. 2v1, Zera played his life so well, and Sugar-Free had to wait for heals, but Toronto will have a blade to work with. No orbital ray to support that, though.
Oh, here comes the Terror Surge. Oh, Infected. Yeah. The Terror Blade, or whatever you want to call it. A terrifying blade, even if you want to super play on words. There's a Nightmare just kind of evaporate Toronto Defiant there. Put him in a stir-fry wok and served him up in a to-go box. 3 ultimates from Toronto, though, moving into the next fight with the rally coming online, too. Seeker something for rather Chica in the backline. Oh, a Cassidy of the old play, you call that. Jump back to 2016 real quick. Flash, fan that hammer, Merit dead. 4v5 as the point is being captured now by Toronto Defiant. Someone pretty low, Terror Surge activated, Zera stunned too, so had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Seeker settles the score though, as Sugar-Free also falls, does take a bash in the face. Babron and CJ are there with the heals required. A double headshot sends Vega reeling too, so Vega has to play safe, and Infected is going to take that opportunity now to try and isolate the healers, and even a good spear too, as Merit eventually gets back to the action, but now has to deal with Zera, who's also found himself off of the respawn, but slowly but surely, unfortunately for Merit, the rest of his team just getting liquefied by that Juno ult. The Orbital Ray secures Nightmare the first points.
Seeker, my Team Canada GOAT. First, you remove Merit from the fight. You Deadeye to remove Sugar-Free. You got no Dragon Blade. You got no WinCon. You got no hope to win the point. Nightmare just out-tempoing them too. Just the Terror Surge into the Blade in the previous fight when Toronto Defiant could have done the same thing. Nightmare will not hesitate. They are not scared of this team. Nightmare know they have the potential to be the first team to beat Toronto Defiant in a final. We'll see if the Deadeye can catch someone off guard. Seeker's done it before.
Super hard point to High Noon, but honestly, if anybody can do it, Seeker can. Oh, whoa. Whew. My heart leapt there. I think Merits did as well. There's the High Noon. Orbital Ray on the point. Can Toronto make good use of it? I don't think they can. Look at that. It's already walked away from them, and they've lost the point. A warm-up scrim indeed, Lemon. Nightmare look clean on this map so far. Terror Surge comes in, Blade for Sugar-Free, he's doing damage, but I mean the entirety of Toronto Defiant were grabbed in on that Terror Surge, so it was easy AoE damage. There's the team kill. A Blade array available for the next fight for Nightmare, and Toronto, they're gonna have to hope this rally sees them through it, because that ult combo is nothing to scoff at.
And to use the Deadeye when the point unlocks, to know when and where you needed to zone the other team. That's what allowed Nightmare to cap. Toronto tried to dance. They get caught out in the open. Nightmare knew Sugar-Free had Blade. All the focus, all eyes are on him, and Sugar-Free gets nothing done.
Oh, they're just going to pop the Blade. Does end up getting bashed. Zera pretty low, but he'll quickly up. Terror Surge 2 to bring him into the center of the Orisa. Still ends up killing RuPaul, and overtime's quickly approaching. Nightmare swapping sides with them right now as Toronto Defiant put themselves on the point, but Merit's going to go down. A deflection here to save Sugar-Free's life, and now he's in the 1v1 versus Infected, and Infected is just getting completely ignored by Toronto Defiant. The Orisas can still do damage, and Infected is proving that right here, right now. Still pretty low, but backup has arrived. Just CJ and Avril are on the case now. Another deflection from Sugar-Free, so he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable, and Zera knows it. Straight into the backline is Zera now, just hunting down the Genji. A small little shield isn't going to help someone either, as RuPaul and Sugar-Free had to back off as someone tried to get the final touch. Nightmare now up 2 points on New Junk City.
And the big difference between this and Suravasa, why Toronto Defiant are so good at Suravasa and why they 3-0 Nightmare is there's a lot more natural cover when things get heated. Toronto Defiant are so good at finding that safety, but now not so much. A lot more open areas, and Nightmare take the fight in those open areas, and they will not relent. They chase down everyone from Toronto Defiant. Now you got a sugar-free blade coming up, Orbital Ray. This is a big fight for Toronto to set the pace for the third point.
On the high ground right now. Nightmare with this rally is going to make it hard for Toronto to approach. There's the Orbital Ray. Terror Surge comes in. Blades popped at the very end as well. Sugar Free ends up taking down Seeker, looking for the break too, but a quick stun bash from Admiral will send him careening back to the spawn as Nightmare. They're going to win this fight. They're going to be able to cap this point. And they're going to put a lot of pressure on Toronto to try and come back into this one. Someone is still in the fight, of course. Has only got the brick for healing, though, so can't stay around for too much longer.
Just another sugar-free blade that gets muted. It's not winning Toronto Defiant fights. It's also where the fight took place. Toronto Defiant have to push through a choke. It's just not a favorable spot. Now Nightmare have Orbital Rain. And oh yeah, Toronto Defiant also used Orbital Rain, lost the fight. Not good for them.
High Noon scatters Nightmare. As soon as that's drawn, though, Seeker responds with his. Actually gets dragged in. He's going to look. Oh, the bash! It was perfect from RuPaul, stunning him out of the ultimate as soon as he clicked the trigger to try and get a double kill. Nightmare still in control. However, Toronto Defiant are going to win this fight. So only Infected left now on the point as they are cleaned up.
Intelligent rotation from Toronto Defiant, not wanting to fight through the choke, wrapping around and having more space and more high ground, low ground for Sugar Free to find his way around, but also making the smart decision of fighting through the Deadeye. You don't always have to hide away from it. You got a lot of cooldowns to, well, not only cancel it, but also negate it. And Toronto finding their confidence and their stride, now hoping to force Nightmare into a choke point. You got the Zero Blade and an Orbital Raid. They could just use that to force Toronto out of the choke. They may be aware of this. They're already spacing back.
Yeah, Blade for Zeri setting up for this one, trying to get a good angle. Orbital Ray from Toronto Defiant, so Zera thinks second there for I don't want to go in and get insta-killed. 1 HP, Sugar Free gets taken down, and here comes the Blades. Isolated is the Brig. A nice little deflect actually onto RuPaul as he got out of range. A good kill for Nightmare, and now Toronto Defiant and their last limbs on this map. They've only got one more fight to try and turn this one around.
Just a chess match with those Orbital Rays, but even kind of when you're dueling up against Merit, Zero so dips to the low ground, almost expecting when the Hinder grenade comes out. So mind games also happening, but can Nightmare close it out here?
Nice, Seeker being the person that someone wants to kill real quick. Blade ends up coming through. Look at that. Everybody trying to escape from the Terror Surge around that pillar. And Sugar Free's waiting, lurking with them with the Blade. Nightmare get team killed, Lemon, but there's still a chance for them to come back. They're going to have this High Noon, but that's about it. So it's going to be a pretty dry fight from both sides.
Can Nightmare actually even get there in time? It might be better to just go for the next point. It's Toronto Defiant desperately needed that. Nightmare seem to think that they can touch in time. Yeah, Zero gets the dash at the last second, and now Toronto have no idea where Zero is. Deadeye from Seeker, while Toronto are out in the open.
High Noon, they're going to get a free point flip here. That speed ring dash onto the point, and the High Noon's going to garner them the point. And now someone from Toronto has to sit on it. So it's going to be an awkward fight for them. You can see Seeker trying to just hunt for the backline. Rally's been popped, so he has to play back. Although still in the face of danger, is trying to eye up RuPaul, but he's quickly met with the shield. A broken shield from the Brig isn't normally a good sign, but RuPaul, zero fear in his system right now. As Nightmare are going to lose their first point on this map. As Toronto, they're not out of the woods just yet. Still need a couple more to claim this one.
Might be good that Nightmare decided to force another fight because they built up towards some ultimates they can use for the next one. And I like the chaos that Seeker was able to produce with the Deadeye. Toronto scattered, and Nightmare tried to make the most out of those isolated positions out of Toronto, but Toronto regrouped very fast, and off the rally of RuPaul, had the extra health to tango in.
Orbital Ray coming through for Vega and CJ. Vega's going to use his first, then CJ the next. These little micro missiles are going to do so much damage. The torpedo's so good with damage amped, but here comes the Blade. That's what you want to be looking for. Sugar Free already claiming 2, 3 kills, 4 in fact. Sugar Free cleaning up. They don't want to go to a map number 5, or sorry, map number 7 even. They want to make this decisive. They want to claim another title in North America in stage 4.
And Toronto didn't even have to set up the Terra Surge for Sugar Free, so he can even use that to get them low, or even to pull Zera and make him uncomfortable, as he has the blade, he is the playmaker, and he has the surge from Infected. And Nightmare's gonna try to play on the point, so everyone's grouped up. The Deadeye's gonna force Nightmare back.
Super fast to the speed ring. Oh, they didn't fall for it. A lot of space and time bought though.
Now that's gone, Nightmare is still gonna play on the point. Terra Surge Blade is the winning combo. RuPaul may have a rally in time, depends how quick Nightmare are.
Oh, there's the Terra Surge coming through from someone. Terra Surge made available from Nightmare, like you said. Same with that rally. Deadeye's going to get used first. Rally ends up coming out. A nice deflected high noon there. Doesn't end up getting any kills. Maybe a little bit of damage while infected, but that's about it. Nightmare, in amongst the chaos, do manage to find that point flip as well. So both, although both ultimates from Toronto Defiant, they're not really finding too much purchase. Blade has been popped by Zera. A nice hinder grenade stops him in his tracks though, so can't get much damage in. Swinging at the Cassidy now. Gets a couple of slashes, but where's the initial kill? Merit surviving for so long, meaning Toronto Defiant can pick up Admiral. Zera in trouble, 59 HP, tries to find another angle. Oh, and combos out RuPaul as well. There's another flip. Toronto Defiant managed to, again, just small flips in amongst the fight. They're almost going to get, well, 99%. You take that any day of the week with Nightmare. Sneaking it away, and then Toronto sneaking it back. And Nightmare now building up towards, hopefully for them, a final fight for this map.
Zera is just incredible. What he was able to do with the blade, even while hindered, brought down to 14 HP, danced around the natural cover, still got the kills. Even when he didn't get the dash resets, Zera maintained his composure. Now, how did they handle this Deadeye from Merit?
Nice spear there, isolating Merit. I mean, he's trying to get kills. Seeker just can't find anything. Nice deflection kill from Sugar Free. He's just absolutely dominating, just on fire. Admiral does eventually extinguish him. But now in OT, I mean, Toronto Defiant are going to claim this one. We're going all the way to a 0.5 on New Junk City.
New reverse sweep on a map. That would be cheeky. The same way Toronto Defiant stole away the lead from Nightmare on New Queen Street. You cannot be happy until the map has ended. And Toronto have found their stride. They're syncing up, and they got a Terra Surge rally. And they could just initiate off of that while Nightmare are still coming through the choke. Now, middle position, trying to see where Nightmare are coming from and hoping to force them in narrow passageways.
Got point priority as well. Here comes the push. Rally, Terra Surge. Everybody's been bashed. Everybody's stunned. A long Terra Surge coming through from Infected. But as soon as everybody gets out of it from Toronto, you're just a non-factor in that fight if you're just holding that ultimate. Team kill for Toronto and the point.
I wasn't sure if Toronto were going to want to push that small room, but a great call. A very healthy someone, aided by the rally, to go for a very charged up Terra Surge. And Admiral with the rally, or has a rally coming up now. And this needs to help Zera. They need to set him up for a 5K if possible, and not let Toronto Defiant get back on their feet. Nightmare don't have a Terra Surge to worry about. Zera's looking for an opening.
Start the ults off again. Someone juggling the point. Point does go over to Nightmare. Both Genji's in the sewers right now. Sugar Free, okay. Ends up falling over to Seeker. Zera onto the high grounds. Ideally here for Nightmare, they enter this fight and don't use too many ults. They've still got Blade, they've still got Rally going into next. And they capped halfway through the fight too. Someone's gonna die.
We'll stagger on someone, that's nice. And Merit using Deadeye is unfortunate, because that's always a nice tool to walk into a point or an area with. Not like a game-breaking ult, but something nice to cause a lot of chaos and isolation. And Zera was able to conserve the blade, so good neutral fights, or good fight for Nightmare to play off the orbital ray there. Tail of two Dragon Blades though, Sugar Free versus Zera. Infected closer to the Terra Surge. They're not playing a forward position though. Nightmare's gonna do their best to weaken those targets for Zera. This could be what helps Nightmare win the map.
Yeah, they've got Terra Blade, they've got the rally. So hard for Toronto to come back, because you know Nightmare probably gonna take us a little bit slowly until the last couple of seconds. There's one person touching right now on the point for Toronto, and that is Sugar Free. Blade's been popped and Blady has been broken. That shield going down, and Zera just turning the backline into sashimi. There's a point capture for Toronto Defiant, and Sugarfree's going to try and tie this one up. Avril ends up going down to the blade, but Seeker's there with a final shot in the back of Sugarfree. The point's going to get flipped again at 98%. There's no one to touch for Toronto. Vega ends up going over to the Lucio to try and get back. Someone with the Terror Surge drags a couple of people into the pit, but it is too little too late. Nightmare going to be rounding this one out with a 3-2 victory on New Junk City to take a lead in the series.
Zira getting the Genji diff on Sugarfree. I was here, chat. We were here. Zira just taking the initiative. Every time they both had blades, Zira's always the one popping it first. Always able to access Vega and RuPaul. Killing that break first. That's always been his target. And maybe Sugarfree just realizing, oh, shoot, this is last fight. I need to make something happen. And Sugarfree is the guy that if he's half health, he's not afraid to take a fight or a duel at a disadvantage, but too little too late for Sugarfree to turn that around for Toronto Defiant, as they almost did turn the entire map around. This was a 2-0 start for Nightmare. It was almost a reverse sweep, but Zira MVP-like performance for Nightmare.
I mean, look, they went to Surabasa last time they met, and it was a 3-0 as well for Toronto Defiant. New Junk City, a slightly different look as well for Nightmare. This series is getting close. They're 2 maps up already. Can they continue their streak? We're going to jump over the desk, and they can see us through to the next few maps, because this is turning out to be a little bit of a banger.
Indeed, it does look like a little bit of a banger, just like the first time those two teams met. Now, the big question is, can Toronto, bring it back, download them in a few minutes of a break time as we are discussing what is happening on the server. We talked about how good Nightmare looked in that mirror match. They stuck with it here as well, and they seem to have the upper hand on New Junk City until Toronto started to string plays together, but just a little too late here, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly how we predicted it to go. Nightmare is going to take him to the meta composition every single time, and Toronto's going to try and find counters. But here, on this map, there's essentially nothing you can do unless you want to try and play the Mei, but that's not what Sugarfree's known for. He's happy to stay on the Genji. So they went mono here. They went back and forth, but here on the first map, Ilios, Zera put on an absolute masterclass with the Genji. He was just all over the place. And again, they played this meta composition. Sugarfree tried to play the Tracer, didn't work out, lost that map. And we have seen this map before. This is the exact same. This played out the exact same way they did last time. They played the Ana Brig Winston into the Sombra, and they weren't able to deal with it again. This is something we've seen before, and Toronto was not able to adapt.
Yeah, I mean, something we've talked about throughout the year really is also Merit's flexibility when it comes to flexing over to the Tracer. Like, that is a matchup that I think Nightmare really wants to expose, and they ended up winning that round. And we also saw here, for example, on New Queen Street, which is a map we haven't seen so far this weekend. Double bomb, love to see that, first of all. But it's making Toronto Defiant uncomfortable. And I also want to say, I love the playmaking we're seeing from Nightmare, especially from Seeker. Not only setting up the team on the Sombra when it came to Ilios playing the well round, of course, but also we're seeing here in the first round of New Junk City, we don't have any ultimates, so we're pushing through. Seeker takes an aggressive flank and catches Merit, instantly get a man advantage. On this round in particular, right here, we're seeing them fight on ducts. We're going to pressure point, and we're going to wait for Toronto to contest. That's when we trigger the high noon, and we can force the enemy movement. We also have an orbital ray on Refinery as well. You play around the objective, and so I feel like consistently we're seeing Nightmare take really smart fights considering the objective. This final fight right here, we are 99 with 2 points already. We can win the map. We're going to push aggro. The other team, they have to care about the point. We're going to go for the backline instead. So Nightmare are taking really smart fights considering the objective and forcing the enemy to care about the objective, which puts them in an awkward spot.
Yeah, and I mean, now being on the back foot here, that's a position that Toronto Defiant, it's not really, they haven't really known that, throughout the season. And a lot of the players, looking at someone here, for example, like, they've been on top for such a long time. Does he have the mental fortitude, Danny, to just, rally the troops and like, forget about the past and just focus on the next game?
Toronto, I think
is this going to get to him?
I mean, I don't think this is going to get to him. They've been in this situation before, and, and these guys have been playing with each other for a very long time, and they do have the capability. Like, we've been talking about how versatile this team is, so I don't think just them sort of on the back foot right now is going to sort of put them down, but I do feel like it's going to get close, because I also want to highlight how Nightmare has been. I feel like they were like very confident. They weren't scared to take fights to Toronto, and it just seems like Nightmare doesn't care that Toronto was back-to-back-to-back champion. Yep. They were confident in their plays, and I think that really paid out huge currently in this matchup.
Yeah, I was going to say, SNR, he said it in his interview, they have nothing to lose. And that kind of mentality when you're playing these fast, pushing compositions is exactly how you want to think. Even if you do have stuff on the line, you want to be pushing first. You want your Rift to be taking space. You want your Genji to be deflecting and dashing into the enemy team. Because when you set the tempo like that, you get some good support to help follow you, good combos. So this mindset where they have nothing to lose and there is no risks, it's what's helping them win these maps.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're just happy to be here, as he said in the interview. They're playing with house money at this point. They're also already qualified for Sweden. I don't think they particularly care as much about the seeding as, for example, Toronto Defiant would care about it. Now, from a coaching perspective, what is going on in the comms there? How many adjustments would you make? What's too extreme? Where do you find the balance here, Caleb?
I think you don't have to make any sweeping adjustments. I actually think on that back half of the flashpoint that Toronto was onto something. They were pushing a little more aggressively. Like they were playing up the objective. They had half the KD on that map compared, but it was very close. So when they were taking fights, they were winning in crucial moments. So I don't want to shy too far away from this quote-unquote meta composition because they do have strengths there. They have Merit on the hit scan. They have Sugar Free on the Genji. They have stuff they can play around.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you then, because we saw the map pool graphic was up just there. I was going to say Gibraltar, and we're also heading to Gibraltar.
And you're a genius, so...
Yeah, well, you said that, sticking to the meta, but I feel like this is the one map where you could put RuPaul on Diana, and those Bionates we've seen before, they are so lethal. He is so good on that hero, and it puts Nightmare in an uncomfortable position where, yes, they kind of like force this meta composition, but Toronto Defiant, they've shown before they can play around this composition on this map.
Yeah, 100%. You have multiple options as well. You can play kind of the Sugar Free and the Echo. We don't really see Echo as much on the Gibraltar. We'll probably see Merit playing the Widow, if I had to guess. The on a break backline, like you said, and then someone on probably his best character, Winston, as well.
Right on, we're heading to Gibraltar. Currently, the score is 2-1 that's right, Nightmare. I hope Avast is doing okay in that basement. Right now, it looks more like he's going to be a ritualistic offering than a lucky charm.
Oh, no.
So, Toronto Defiant, do it for Avast, do it for your fans, do it for all of us. Let's see if they can bring it back, or if Nightmare is going to pull full steam ahead with this one. Jen, Jack, take us through it.
Thank you very much. Zoe in the desk. Yeah, I hope we sacrifice Avast, honestly. That might give Toronto Defiant enough power to come back here, because that was a very like leveled up play from Nightmare on that flashpoint. But here it is. I mean, just dive for Toronto. They're so quick and clean with it. Can Seeker disrupt the flow on the Widowmaker, though?
He's one of the better Widows in North America. Surprising that Merit doesn't even want to try that. I think he's sticking to his guns, literally. And also the Hinder Grenade, which has really ruined Zero's life on the Genji in the previous map and may keep Infected in his place.
See how Sugar Free ends up dealing with this Widowmaker as well. See if he kind of sticks to him like butter on bread. Slowly but surely, Seeker trying to peek. Knows Merit's there. Yeah, Merit is acutely aware as well of the positioning.
Toronto is such like a passive defense too. They won't engage unless they see a quality opportunity. And that's what, caused Toronto Defiant to full hold Nightmare on Midtown. That's what made Toronto Defiant full hold Shikigami on Gibraltar especially. Like, Toronto may be known as an aggressive, relentless team, but they know when and where to do that.
Seeker making a small rotation and then back up to the high ground. A very low and slow map so far. Headshot onto someone, nade onto Vega. Sleep missing. Slowly but surely, Zeret is moving the point right now, but it will be Sugar Free there to test him. Nano Boost coming up now for Toronto Defiant. They're going to want to go aggro here. Look at that, Nano Boost straight onto the corner. Both supports kind of cowering now as the nade comes through, and Sugar Free with the additional damage required for the kills. Infected trades one. Only Zeret on the point. Trying to make Toronto Defiant play back now. A good push from the Tracer.
Fantastic push. Nightmare now are within one fight territory of capping. I question CJ and Admiral feeling comfortable and safe enough to go up that staircase as an Ana player. You are just trying to be as far away from that Winston and really just not be even in dive range. So to be in a position to be accessible by someone, you got to be sure when and where you move. As CJ, of course, your babysitter Brigitte is going to help a lot. That headshot helps a lot too.
What a shot from Seeker. Pulse Bomb though. Hail Mary sleep dart to try and sleep somebody. Primal Rage pop for Infected. No more supports for Toronto Defiant, at least for now. And Infected is making sure they are aware. Seeker also takes down someone, and that one fight territory is really paying off for them now. Is that a stick? Oh! I think Zera just stuck Sugar Free, and Sugar Free hit the recall. I heard the stick sound. I could be wrong. It could be a floor pulse, but I don't think May has deceived me there.
At least it zoned him off from trying to touch. I think Sugar Free could have bought Toronto Defiant another fight, and Zero make sure that they were uncomfortable enough that the payload slipped by. Now, can Nightmare keep it going, though? This is a difficult point to push with all the choke points and nano engage from Infected. You love that Nightmare were able to build up towards that.
What a sleep. Oh, boops him forward, too. Uh-oh. Yep, someone's got Primal. Facing through on this high ground, you know there's no sleep, as it was used a couple of seconds ago. Under half HP, though, decides better of staying around. Still wants the high ground control, though, so we'll jump back on the small little boxes.
If someone keeps tunneling too much on Seeker, you could see Nightmare taking advantage of this, and you know, you sacrifice Seeker like you sacrifice a Bast and just take the 4v5. As Nightmare now nano engage.
Nano engage, yeah. Bubble's gone down. Leap forward, sleep misses. Infected now trying to mess with an entire army in that spaceship. Both Tracers hitting the recall at the same time as well. Infected now, wishing he had Primal Rage, that is for sure. So tough against the Brig and Cast, like that is so annoying to deal with, but there's the first pick. Seeker eventually turning the tides in their favor. Rally's been popped though. Goes Toronto Defiant. Now trying to make sure Infected doesn't execute the backline because both their DPS are dead. Someone's gonna just try and take down Seeker, but with no Primal, yeah, you're just gonna die.
Well, the Widow got a lot of help too. You got sights, and they see the end of point B.
Oh, the nano applied to Vega, but what a nade from CJ. Stopped the healing coming through. That could have really been the hold there. Maybe someone gets back, same with Sugar Free and Merit. They end up just jumping off the map. 3 and a bit minutes. That's a very quick time bank, considering how kind of slow this map's been already. Not too many like fights, right? There's maybe been like 3, if that.
Yeah, and for Nightmare to nano engage and not even bring out the rally, I thought Toronto had found stabilization, then they rallied, and Infected is okay disengaging and sacrificing that, and a lot of posturing as Nightmare eventually broke through Toronto, made them uncomfortable, made them drop out of those safe positions. Now Nightmare have a ton of time for points, and they're already halfway pushed. Zero's done such a good job of having payload presence.
Spells Merit, yeah, don't want to hang around. Even the Tracer at this level, don't want to mess with the Widows. Oh, that was close as well.
Top bridge, if you can set up Seeker there, would be nice. And someone's in a position where he could access someone like Admiral and CJ. They cannot let someone stay up there.
Zera's 13 HP. Good defense here from Toronto Defiant. Seeker's 1. Ends up going down. Sugar Free hits the recall 2 to get out.
Someone executed on his dive, being in that high ground position, bubbled off Admiral and CJ and got Seeker low. Someone has a big impact as that Winston that could see him take that same position. He's close to Nano, and as long as Toronto Defiant keep taking the initiative, they're gonna execute their dives faster than Nightmare can get to Vega and RuPaul.
Just relying on this Seeker pick on the Widow. Calm before the storm. This Merit, as we can see in the X-ray there, just inching around the corner. Doesn't want to slow peek. The fight to end all fights. It's better than,
they dislodged someone from being able to dive your backline. That's nice from Infected.
It's better than the Washington Rizzes going at each other, I'll tell you that.
Oh, he's back.
They traded place. Mad Hatter moment.
He's waiting. So this is Nightmare trying to nano engage and making the most.
Yeah, look at this.
Someone's taking too long.
CJ is like looking around. He has to look forward, then look back. He has to heal his Winston, who's sleeping right now. Seeker down. Infected Primal ran out. It's a good nade. Vega not going to fall though, as RuPaul's right is back. These engages from Infected are good. There is a touch coming in. When the backline calls for aid, Vega answers.
I can't believe Toronto held that. You're lucky that they were able to get back this spawn because someone, went to get a snack or something. Maybe was hoping Sugar Free was going to join him. It took Infected and Zero to get someone off the high ground. He went back and good kind of awareness from CJ of like, okay, I'm safe for now. I can pull Nano, but we need to hurry. And that's exactly what Nightmare did. They're within 2 meters of capping. Toronto can still burn this last minute.
See that Mero is kind of hiding around the corner, waiting for the enemy Widow to shoot first. Seeker grapples up onto a height, but now has to deal with this Primal Rage without a grapple, but someone doesn't care about the Widowmaker right now. Looking more towards the Ana. Don't think CJ got knocked off the edge. No, he did not. It's actually Seeker that comes up with the goods. Vega down, headshot connects. Is now with these sights, bit easier shot onto Merit. Same with the rest of the team, to be fair, but someone with the nano boost is gonna just destroy the backline. One of the best to ever do it on the Winston. He's kind of proven it here. A true one-man army. Zera does kill Sugar Free, but these spawns are good. These spawns are too good, Lemon. Toronto Defiant are gonna tick this down to overtime now as Nightmare trying to regroup his 5.
Under a Seeker swaps, it's last fight. Zero Infected are still alive, and they'll be able to touch the cart. It'll be up to this Primal to buy some time from Infected. Seekers on Sombra.
What a nade from RuPaul. They got Rally. There's no way you win that now. Yeah, you see Admiral kind of skating around the high ground to try and get another touch, but that nade from RuPaul was crucial. Infected was so close to Primal Rage. If he stays alive there, gets Primal, you can extend the fight maybe another like 20 seconds or so. Hope Seeker comes back and gets a pick. That's where the Payload's journey will end on this round, as Toronto now get the chance to attack.
And a second wind out of Toronto, because Nightmare came in with, what, 3 minutes to point C? It was getting... Nightmare just found a tempo. They were just initiating. Same thing from New Junk City. And Toronto, though, able to stop it at the 2 meter part, being able to utilize their nano. Someone always is going to be such a threat on the field that when he is nanoed, and he will always convert 2 or 3 kills from these engagements. And the only thing Nightmare could really do is Seeker hitting a critical headshot, maybe getting a pick to trade. Would have been the only saving grace for Nightmare. But maybe the Widow swap didn't come quick enough, because Nightmare have been funny. They brought out some Reaper in the past to deal with some annoying Winstons, but Nightmare still did a good job through most of this map. It's still a winnable position where the cart is at. Toronto not able to fool them like they usually do to their opponents. But how will Seeker versus Merit match up now? Will it be the Widow or not from Merit? That's my question.
Go Sonic. Little information. Probably gonna switch to Widow. There it is. Yeah, Merit versus Seeker now. This is gonna be an incredible matchup.
Sniper, be careful.
Yeah, I could have seen Merit go for the Cassidy just to help push the team to the high ground, but Nightmare are also contesting very early. There is no free pushing for Toronto Defiant. This could just be brawling to see if you can build up towards Nano, which so far RuPaul is a little bit ahead of CJ by 10%. Now Toronto are getting some pushing Zera off and maybe even forcing out the recall, but Zera's gone from the cart.
Seeker's still trying to hunt Merit. See, he's down lower left right now, or lower right to them. High ground control, still teased by someone as well. Does end up getting slept, but he is like half in bubble. Nade, jump, he's free. Oh, tantalizingly close, that shot there.
Toronto's still trying to get some push going. Quick recall out of Sugar Free. That was dangerous. The nano is what's going to dictate whether Toronto can cap quickly or not. And they're pretty even in nano charge, and Merit opens things up too. That helps.
Oh, what a sleep in midair. Sharp stuff from RuPaul. Wouldn't expect anything less. Merit's going to get healed up too. Oh, does he get the boot? No, he does not. Gets the mega health back, and yeah, card's being pushed right now. You want to jump on some? You really want to play with this? You really want to play with this? Nano boost. Okay. Ooh. Now he wants to rumble. All right, he's looking for the tracer. Uh-oh, wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately. Oh, the brig, though. 180 bash gets the stun. Nano fades away. Oh, and of course, Merit just cleans up. That's 5 kills for Merit in that team fight. Absolute beast.
And that was with Infected hunting Barrett for the longest time. Infected not being in this fight. caused Toronto to just be able to cap, and we'll get a replay of what Merit was able to do. First Infected has slept, easy cleanup there, and
God.
hunting season.
You love it. I must say, Lemon, Infected's just getting bullied right now. It's been really tough for him this series so far, or this map at least.
Sugarfree's able to zone 0 to get some progress going, and Mary gets a big diff, and Toronto can build a lot of momentum off of this, and someone, Primal, been woken up from the sleep.
All right, Primal Rage. No headshots for you, Merritt. They're all my kills. Nice little bonk. There's the nano boost. Now you can just sit here, put the bubble down, chill on the stairs, AFK. My favorite kind of strategy. All right, Infected is touching.
Could have body blocked Infected, though.
No, Primal Rage, yeah, and the body block's pretty big. Mary needs some big headshot kills here. Seeker switching over to Sombra to try and join the fight as quick as possible. Shouldn't be any extra kills, you would think.
Pretty huge of Nightmare to take that just initial assault and be able to stop the cart where it is. You could always have Sugar Free sneak by and get Zero's attention, so Zero needs to be close by just in case. Toronto will be allowed to dive ship again.
Yeah, importantly here, that... Oh, I was about to mention the Primal Rage, but I guess Sugar Free's got a pulse bomb. And the backline's dead. Okay, scratch my point. Let's talk about that. There's a little nano boost you're missing now, unfortunately, Nightmare. They're going to have to come back and Infected try and buy enough time. With this Primal Rage, Sierra's dead to nade. I mean, that's just it. That's this next point. I mean, maybe you pop the nano, but it'll be a hard fight to win. You're probably just going to want to save it. Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. A dive from Toronto Defiant, looking pristine. Gem Mint 10. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go as Toronto Defiant now pushing around this final point.
RuPaul and Vega doing such an amazing job dealing with Infected. Infected is counter diving. You don't see him because he's busy diving the supports, and he can't kill him even with Primal. And Infected not having an impact in this fight is gonna kill Nightmare. Toronto come into point C with pretty much the same time bank, but a lot more ults.
Okay, how many things did they throw at Merit there to try and kill him? Support's too good though. Pulse bomb whiffed from Zera. EMP for Seeker. This is the big bang that Nightmare really want to open this one up with. Everybody's very split though. You can see the supports all hanging in the back. RuPaul is a light year away right now. Nano boost for the save
Nightmare
too.
trying to space out. They don't want to be nano dove. And someone's getting positioned out on the top bridge. He could access anyone he wants, and Nightmare may have to just be close to spawn. He sees shields up from Admiral. Here we go.
Nano deployed, and it's on Merit. There's the stun, there's the kill. Nano Widow. Always against the Nano Winston. I think I'll take the Winston on that one. Merit's still going to go to the high ground, though, as CJ fells to a pulse bomb. Merit now eventually dying as that Nano fades away. Infected Swan. It's a little bit later, so it lasted a little bit longer, but Admiral's still dead. Trying to define hard out of this fight, and they're going to be able to maintain position. Oh, and Seeker's pocket pick. Bastion, and make it a Lego one. One of the best skins in the game for certain. I think Seeker's probably going to change again. Yeah, it was just for the potential forced push here by Toronto Defiant. Swaps to the Widow, needs kills as someone jumps away. Oh, Merit. Straight up into the high ground too.
Don't ever repeat
Oh,
your
get
Widow.
another son. Hits a body shot onto CJ. Someone is super low, pops the sights anyway. Primal Rage popped by Infected. These sights aren't going to last too long, I'm afraid. Seeker's going to have a bit of an easier time now as Infected has managed to clutch this fight out by the look of things. Still need to deal with the backline, but Zera is there with the backup.
Good heals out of RuPaul. See if Infected can get some stagger. I don't think he pushed past this point. Maybe actually Zero was there, but recalled. This will force Infected back. And Nightmare find a point of stabilization after a wave of ultimates. But guess what? Toronto has built up towards another set. And you have RuPaul with a nano. Be careful for Infected in that top right side. He's close to having a nano. Someone's going to zone him back to the opposite bridge. And Toronto are taking this one step at a time. Oh my God.
Merit again. Seeker's got to sit down, probably going to switch to Bastion if I had to guess. Only a minute to go with Nano Primal push, potentially. As someone's got Primal, there's the Seeker Bastion, but Zera's already dead. Someone's going to have to do something. Seeker's already super low. The pulse bomb. Oh, Sugar Free wasn't even aiming at him. Sugar Free finds two, maybe even a third. Seeker has been deconstructed as Toronto Defiant find that golden box of victory and tie the series.
Ooh, what a close one too, man. Oh my God. Sugar Free just got let loose, and when he has the space to work off of someone, it was beautiful. You'll have to see that the Nightmare supports are not afraid of a Winston like someone. We saw that someone had to force himself out of fights a lot. As soon as his bubble would burst, see Admiral and CJ walk up looking for sleeps, looking for bashes, and someone respected that backline. And Infected also found more value on point C, being able to come back and help Nightmare get back on their legs when Toronto looked like they were going to cap much earlier than they did. But whew, Barrett also just the critical headshots. Those first bloods in those fights is going to be really rough.
It was different a little bit there. Not often can you say that against someone like Seeker. You get those first pick on the Widowmaker. It's easy for the supports to play aggressive, peek really aggressively around that first corner, or that last corner, sorry, on Watch Point Gibraltar. The 5K SMG got at the very start as well. I mean, yeah, Toronto, they look good. They look good on dive maps. Here you go, here's a few clips from the last map. Now it's Nightmare's chance to choose. Now you don't want to go to a Winston map. They're probably going to try and take him to the mirror. It's exactly what Gravy said on the desk. Confidence as well.
Oh, you called the recall too.
Yeah, did he stick him? I wasn't actually, yeah, I was looking at the,
yeah, you stuck him and he recalled, but they still were able to cap off of that, so value acquired.
Oh my God, that was a dirty shot too. Oh, I'm assuming this was the 5K as well. I mean, this was, yeah, body shot bandit. Hey, you take those though. Popping off on the Widowmaker. Ooh. Yeah, RuPaul also did a fantastic job on the Ana. Infected a very, very tough Winston to play against, even with the Ana toolkit. But they still managed to get it done. In OT, Nightmare really pushing Toronto Defiant to the limit, and we are waiting for a team to do exactly that, and it looks like Nightmare are going to be the one in the grand finals, no less.
Now, where do Nightmare want to take us to is the question. We're in a 2-2 spot now, and
big numbers.
Damage going the way of Toronto, less deaths, but for how the map ended up, I'm kind of surprised by these stats.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the stats especially, like, stats definitely aren't everything in Overwatch. They don't paint the full picture whatsoever. They can do on, like, when you're getting crushed. But with Widowmakers on the field too, it skews the stats very heavily on the dominant Widows. And you'll see a lot more deaths as well, because the Widowmakers are kind of picking each other off. But yeah, good stats all around from Toronto Defiant. Well, Nightmare's choice is going to be King's Row. Okay, so can play dive for sure here, but I want to see Seeker Bastion, I really do. It was a pocket pick they picked up for Circuit Royale of all maps, like quite some time ago. Circuit Royale obviously not in the pool right now, but everybody was like, what? Seeker, Bastion, Circuit Royale, very different kind of rush style with it, and it worked out super well. We do see Toronto's comp on the defense and kind of stock standard and what you expect. No Ana, no Alari, no Zen, but Toronto just running with a default backline with Merit on at the hit scan.
It was close between NRG Shock and Toronto when it came to that Kings Row map. I think Merit has a lot of options. He could have been, obviously Ashe is, he's a DPS that leans more Ashe than usual, and of course very strong on this map. To be able to sit back on that back window, keep everyone down, get the dynamites going, Bob presence to keep the objective occupied. He could have also contested the Widow. But Seeker's gonna match him on that, and Zero's on the far. This could be a lot of suppression on someone like, well, someone.
I think one of the funniest names in Overwatch is someone. There is a story behind that. That's for another time. Zera Farah really want to force the high ground. Just get someone off height, wrap around. Give Merit like one angle to look down, make sure he is checked at least a little bit.
So much focus on Infected, so he can't anchor and get a first tick going. And that means Toronto don't have to contest the point if Infected's just gonna step off, but yeah, all going Toronto's way.
Oh, Toronto's way. A slow, painful death as the Orisa. They will die eventually. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it's someone that dies. Okay. Didn't really expect Infected to last that long. I think Toronto Defiant thinking they can pick up that kill pretty easily. That's not a good pick, and that's definitely just going to be point there.
Yeah, Nightmare just needed to play for any trades at all. And they're a team that will keep their composure. They lost Infected, their spawns are closer. And they could regroup faster too. Now an orbital ray exchange, where Toronto look like they're holding that back library corner. Merit has Bob much faster than Seeker. And that could just be what tilts the scales for Toronto Defiant to keep Nightmare from building up kind of any pace.
Such a hard choke point to take over though. Orbital Ray is almost perfectly designed for these streets as well. And RuPaul going down first, an unlikely death at the hands of Seeker. So Toronto, they don't even want to commit a Juno ultimate. We've seen a lot of teams in the past commit that just to see if they can turn the fight when they have one down, but deciding against it completely, just throwing in the Bob instead. That's a lot of free ult charge actually for Admiral. Should be able to get rally pretty quick now.
Yeah, Ash hits like a truck, and Seeker just not allowing his team to not have to use any ults to get halfway to B. Now they can dump all of this just to cap B, and a great fortify from Infected to not let Merit's Bob get any value, to not let it cross into his backline. Now an important fight for point B.
Well, here comes the Bob, and it's in the Ray as well. Oh, and it got dragged in. Blade popped in the backline. Sugar Free takes down Seeker high in the sky. Where are you running, Sarah? Not to that mega health bag, I hope. There's a fight for Toronto Defiant. Big ultimates pop too. So good that RuPaul here as well has managed to save, well, not save onto, he didn't even earn it, but they've got rally for the next fight is what I'm saying. Also, don't get too close to Infected towards the edge. Yeah, don't want to get dragged off, and there we go. Nice stagger. Took him a long time to die there.
And doing it himself means no little bit of ult charge for someone like Toronto Defiant, and that difference of 10% of Sugar Free getting the blade before Zera meant that Toronto Defiant could dictate that fight and also just out DPS Nightmare. And a crucial part to where they left that cart, Nightmare have a lot to travel, and Toronto are even going to poke them down. Nightmare, though, have built up towards that Terra Surge blade, and Toronto, they want to split up to not get pulled into that.
Ooh. Yep, Blade, rally. Infected's got the ult too. Both rallies popped. Toronto Defiant running for the hills as the Blade is pulled. Straight to the backline, a nice little bash, a nice little whip shot to send him away, but Sugar Free's already dead. A slash on to Merit, doesn't bring him down just yet, but someone's pretty low and needs desperate help. Looks like a RuPaul wanted to get a little bit spicy against Seeker there, but decides against it in the end. Bob is going to get deployed as the Ray's going to come in from Toronto Defiant, thinking they can win this fight. 0.59 meters to go, and Vega just standing proud on the point. But unfortunately, takes a spear and a bit of damage to the face, so has to back off.
Bit of a hairy fight there for Nightmare. I was worried about Zera disengaging so fast. He had Merit low, didn't finish off that kill. He did get stunned by a rally brig, and Zera kept on trucking, but could have finished off a lot more kills, but was trying to survive, which is sometimes more important than getting all the kills and giving up your life afterwards. But Nightmare still pulled through, even with the orbital ray in their face. And now CJ can bring that to Toronto Defiant, and Nightmare could push all the way to the end with a pretty good time bank.
Bob deployed by Seeker. Everybody from Toronto Defiant right now kind of scattering. High ground control as well is going to be important. Such a good angle. It's going to be tough for Merit to really influence this fight, especially with Seeker up here, but Sugar Free makes it a little bit easier. Zera just chunks down the backline with trying to keep RuPaul in the spawn. That's kind of frustrating for the Zen.
There's the orbital ray.
Wow, Sugar Free just explodes. I think everybody shot him in there at once. Riley's going to come in for Admiral too. I mean, how did Toronto Defiant stand up to this aggression? It's not even possible. RuPaul's on 98% towards the Transcendence. Nightmare just overload them with ults. The rally, the Ray, there's nothing, like, unless you have the Transcendence there, and even then, you can get one-tapped.
Yeah, Toronto tried to explore kind of these individual lanes, just sending solo DPS to get these 1v1 duels, which could have helped Toronto start to surround Nightmare, who were just sitting on the card getting free progress. You're happy Toronto Defiant got back to spawn before an earlier orbital ray could have come out of Nightmare's side. And Nightmare conserved that. And as soon as Sugar Free went down, 5v4, Nightmare knew this was the time to push the envelope, and they push in with 2.5 minutes. Very good time bank for Nightmare to have, considering they only needed one fight to retake point B. That's usually where a lot of teams will succumb, to that point B final push. And Nightmare not only did that against an orbital ray fight that they didn't have an orbital ray for, Nightmare able to take fights that they have an ult disadvantage at. So a lot of weight being pulled by the DPS here of Nightmare.
First of all, format, it's worth reminding everybody. That's a gnome. I would make the obvious joke, but I think everybody's made it.
I can't do the laugh. I tried.
What laugh are you talking about? What?
I'm not a gnome.
Oh. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
I've not thought about that meme.
I'll educate you on
I have
the
not thought
meme.
about that for 10 years. Thankfully, you brought it back to me. You know what? It was a good meme. It was a good meme. It lived a long and healthy life, honestly. All right, quick rotation for Toronto Defiant through mega health pack. Oh, the headshot's super Sugar Free. ASMR Overwatch, Genji throwing shurikens into Orissa's head.
I like that sound.
Yeah, Zen too, but
it's a lot of posturing.
It feels good. A lot of posturing, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you just want Infective off this high ground, but so that's cooldown, so that's fortify, so that's spear spin, just chilling. Unfortunately there for Toronto, they didn't actually get a tick. They had to back off. There was like 1 pixel in it, I think. All right, Sugar Free tries again. Sarah's going to be there. Dynamite comes in, so Sugar Free has to back off.
Yeah, Seeker and Zero working in tandem to force off Sugar Free. That was an important duel. That could have given Toronto Defiant the first tick. But because Zero got the Dynamite advantage, Sugar Free dashed out first. Zero contested at the last second too. And Toronto will waste a minute trying to get that. Again, posturing, but now it's orbital ray time.
The ults we've all been waiting for. All right, someone maybe gets a tick. Orbital ray available. It's a really nice one for CJ. If you just lay it across the point like diagonally, really tough to kind of deal with. Oh, Sugar Free with a deflect kill onto Zera. Are you going to commit Orbital Ray now if you're Nightmare is the question. I don't think so. It looks like Infected is just trying to get trade kills. Might be able to get out of there as well, but Infected is so low. He's only got the break heals. Yeah, there you go. Counter bash is good. There's the kill for Sugar Free. Oh, and make it another.
You love this fight if you're Toronto Defiant. Obviously you cap, but you also build up towards 5 ultimates. King's Row is such a snowball map, and you saw what Nightmare just did, and now we got some deflect. Oh yeah,
deflects.
That's pretty nasty.
Shuriken just straight back at you.
So yeah, snowball time for Toronto and Nightmare, because Toronto capped and won the fight. Now Nightmare is so far away, so won't be able to contest that library spot.
This is absurd. RuPaul, okay, they know. Surely everybody turns around. Rally's pop, Terror Surge comes in. Oh, Seeker didn't have a chance to react, but neither did Merit and RuPaul, apparently. Bob in the Ray. Blades pulled from Sugar Free. Terror Surge popped out for Infective. Sugar Free dodging out of it for the time being. He's just cleaning up. Genji's looking as clean as ever. It's rare to have a player that can play pretty much everything. Sugar Free is definitely one of them. Almost a true hyperflex.
It was almost a fumbled fight, though. The overcook there for RuPaul had me worried. He was so close to dying, and Toronto said, all right, 3, 2, 1 strategy time. Let's into with him. Let's bring out the blade. And that kind of split focus from Nightmare went the way of Toronto Defiant. But all those 5 ults now gone. You don't have that to push the end of point B. They could lose a lot of time if this neutral fight does not go their way. Toronto got to shut down Zera and hope to survive an orbital ray.
Orbital Ray Blade, I mean, this is really tough at this point in the map. Seeker just trying to take care of Zera, or at least check him on the sidelines. Could obviously just dash over the roofs as well as an escape method. Here comes the Orbital Ray, though. Here come the little torpedoes as the blade has been pulled. You are not escaping this one. Someone is just locked against the dartboard there. I think Infected was body blocking him as well, so there was no chance to kind of escape. Still trying to.
Yeah, you saw the attempt from Toronto to disengage and for someone to try and grab the Mega Pack and try to see if they can re-engage into it. But yeah, Nightmare just winning off Blade, Orbital Ray as intended. 2.5 minutes and Toronto just need to build up towards some ultimates. Here's how
Orbital Ray, Terraso is going to bring everybody closer together as the bash comes out from that rally, stunning the Genji, but he still slips through space to get out of there. Merit ends up falling, and here comes Bob. I mean, there's no play for Sugar Free, so how much impact is he going to have on this fight? His entire team has just been surrounded. A Terror Surge in the bar as Admiral swiftly kicked out. RuPaul eventually goes down, and a very scrappy fight is going to end with Toronto Defiant just kind of resetting to the point, and Nightmare on their choke as well.
I don't think Nightmare have everyone up, though. Spawns are closer for the defense.
Has been ripped. Oh, Zera. What a dash from Sugar Free. That was right on the edge of where the damage stops. Oh, and here it is. Okay, this should guarantee the point, and then something crazy happens. Nice spear spin from an Infected, but he's done so much. He's invested so many cooldowns, so can't get back to the point in time. It's going to be a lesser time bank, you'd imagine. 240 and counting down versus 229 in the bank for Nightmare.
Smart for Toronto to tempo up in that 5v4, knowing that Nightmare could have re-engaged because their spawns were closer. Now Nightmare have an Orbital Ray coming up versus CJ, but initiative from the defense.
Yeah, RuPaul's now on the Zen, so he's going to hit super hard now, but there's very little healing to try and get the backline sorted. Nice deflights coming through from Zera as Nightmare end up making Toronto Defiant reset. These Juno ult fights, Nightmare has been winning them more often than not.
That's good for them to exchange ults and win it. Toronto are going to have to invest a lot more, and they only have a Terra Surge, but all depends. Can you get a charged enough? Can you keep someone healthy enough that he can charge up the Terra Surge to a significant damage value such Sugar Free? Could maybe get some dash resets, but he's already half health.
Just got orb applied to Infect. Look how low he's going. Still takes one with him. Someone dragging that brick into the line of sight of the rest of the Toronto Defiant. As now they move around this final corner, minute and 40. A lot of ult to Nightmare though. This is going to be exactly an easy fight, however, as RuPaul's got Transcendence.
Nightmare should take a long fight if they can. You want to burn this clock as much as possible. Try to conserve your ultimates if you can. But Nightmare, I've been winning a lot from taking the initiative. Here's a Bob to hit the backline.
Seeker, but Sugar Free was there to catch him, and yeah, Bob's just going to die. Someone pops Fortify. Sugar Free might just claim another as well. Yeah, he does. Well, the Merit Dynamite will do it. Here comes a rally from Admiral. Going to keep everybody alive and well through this Juno ult. Blade in top of the Juno ults, and Toronto Defiant just ult dumping now with the final few moments. Zera swinging, missing unfortunately, as Vega deals with him. That's a team kill, and that's a completion for Toronto. A minute in the bank for them, as Nightmare's time bank is equaling 239. That Transcendence really helped him out of that last fight, but those initial picks from Toronto, Seeker had the idea, you know, like go for the flank, hit the Bob in the back, maybe one-tap somebody, but Sugar Free was right on top of him.
Yeah, Nightmare should have just taken this slow fight. Like, what's given Nightmare so much success has been taking earlier fights to be higher tempo than Toronto Defiant, which is somehow possible. But Nightmare tempoing up when they just needed to play back. Because worst case scenario, you could go to your spot room doors and you could maybe just give up that space and hope to fight it back with a Bob. But then you sacrifice the Bob, someone, you know, good awareness for him to turn around, spear the Bob, deal with it, so it didn't affect Toronto too much. But Seeker not marking where Sugar Free was, being assassinated there, opened up the 5v4 for Toronto to avalanche down into the Nightmare spawn room doors and to fully cap. Nightmare should have really taken their time with that, see if they could burn down the clock, but nonetheless, minute 39, maybe a 2-fight difference. The big goal here is for Toronto to cap the point. That's, you know, 1 minute is not a lot of time to do that with, and then they'll probably have to go to overtime and how far they can get with that. So Toronto need to maximize their push.
Quick Widow spot. Straight over to Ash. Mirror comps almost with RuPaul on the Zen. Love the aggression. You can take a hotel here if you're RuPaul. Oh, there's a Genji right there. Oh, deflect used already. Okay, so Abra will end up just dropping to try and help Zera in the 2v2. But they've actually forgone high ground now, so they're more in like a default spot in this archway. Pushing hotel, they can't overextend too much. They have to go quick because the Zen is just gonna rip you apart with this Discord orb. Nice backup from Vega as well. RuPaul going so low, but it's actually Zera that's on the retreat. Oh, someone's won! Oh, that's not good. My expert opinion, that's not good. Someone dead, OT in 5 seconds with Vega falling too. Someone's gonna have to touch, and I mean, it's probably have to be Sugar Free. He does trigger OT, but look at the amount of firepower that Nightmare have. A full hold on point A of King's Row. 239 for Nightmare to get 33%.
Just came down to that one fight for 1 minute. Like I said, the goal is to cap the point, do anything at all, and it was all about posturing the Zens. Both teams trying to bully each other. Zens sending their Genjis, sending the house, but both Zens really also, well, not only countering with their positioning, playing also closer to their Juno, but also Zen is, you can't bully him as much as you could in Overwatch 1. He's got a kick now that does space out a Genji getting to them, and both Zens living on. RuPaul is so deadly. Same thing on the other side for Nightmare. And then someone, as soon as Vega had to tend to RuPaul, who was getting pushed, someone was left out the dry. RuPaul and Vega went to the right room. Someone out in the open couldn't get to the health pack and hotel in time. And that small disconnect, although you kept your backline alive, you sacrificed someone in the process. And that's one of the main anchors you need to be on the point, besides Sugar Free. And then when it was all up to Sugar Free, he had to use deflag, he was below half health. It was GG from there. Really good resilience out of Nightmare in that case. Now 2.5 minutes. This is not a guarantee fight win. They only need 33% and only one fight.
Yeah, the Zen Gambit not paying off, and you can see RuPaul on the brig. That one fight, like you said, all that you need. We'll see how they want to approach this. Hotel control and point presence. I mean, that is definitely how Infect is thinking of playing, because you only need 33%, so the drops from Toronto are going to have to come really quick. It is Sugar Free right now on the point, has to back off, got dynamited, and now is someone's chance to touch. He does get there, but now Nightmare can take the high ground. I think Infect is doing exactly that. Same with Zera, who's now looking over the entirety of Toronto Defiant, or apart from someone that's right next to him. I think that's Vega.
And good cycling from Toronto when Sugar Free got dynamite, used deflex, someone drops, but someone is low.
Super low, needs help. Sugar Free just trying to make a hero play right now, trying to kill Seeker, but is receiving those healing torpedoes. Oh, Vega's also, oh, it's one shot. Seeker just clicks his head, and Nightmare just kind of out-rotate Toronto Defiant there, knock him off the high ground and knock him down to match point. Nightmare in such a good spot. Can a team finally do it? Can they take down Toronto Defiant in the grand finals in one of these stages? Nightmare now one map away from doing so. A very slow, clean, decisive play from Nightmare there. Not too many kills. Only needed 33% and had 2 minutes to do it. Lemon, they could be rewriting history here. Toronto was seen as the best team coming into the North American OWCS, and they've proven that time and time again, every single stage.
Yeah.
Is now the time?
Amity's been the only other team. Yeah, Amity's been the only team that have been able to take a map from Toronto in a final, and now Nightmare have taken 3. It's just insane coordination for Zera and Seeker. You hit the dynamite on Sugar Free, you force him out, you get someone at quarter health. Nightmare, go sign pedal to the metal, march on in. Zera trusted Infected to keep someone's attention locked in, tunneled on the point. Zera went through a hotel, started to wrap all the way around, and despite being in the middle of like 10 people, Zera lived on and was able to force another fight for Nightmare. No, not a second wasted. Nightmare forced Zera, by doing this crazy flank, forced Toronto in such these uncomfortable positions accessible by Nightmare, and all they needed to do was overwhelm someone. That chaos that Zera paused meant someone did not get the healing attention he needed to be the pivotal anchor for Toronto Defiant. This is 33%. You step off for a few extra seconds, the map is over. NTMR were so good at dictating the map, manipulating Toronto Defiant to play their game, and not a single other team has been able to do that other than NTMR. This could be a new stage winner that we're looking at.
And that is an insane thing to say. A new stage winner, NTMR, one map away. Just happy to be here. That's what the coach was saying. Hey, you'd be even happy if you get the win. Both teams, of course, locked in for Stockholm. Extra prize money and seeding points as well coming on the line for both teams. All right, we'll see where we want to go to. Toronto Defiant looked crazy good on the dive. Always will, of course, with someone on Winston. One of the best Winstons in the world, if not the best.
Well, we did get a game 5. We got the 3-2.
Right, yeah, that's true.
that we wanted, but this is a best of 7.
Maybe.
That's bags. But Toronto have not been pushed to the distance, but they also have very special maps prepared for NTMR.
Right.
Think about the new Queen Street. We haven't seen new Queen Street at all. I don't know if they expected for the series to get this long. Toronto definitely knew that thought that they were the better team here in the mirror and every other composition. They knew NTMR were good at the one comp, maybe Orisa, I don't know. But NTMR are not only good at that, they're starting to beat Toronto in all the mirrors.
The teams need a couple more minutes here just to get into the next map and decide what they're going to do. We're going to jump to a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Potential final map here and maybe even a new king of North American Overwatch. NTMR versus Toronto Defiant. We're going to continue after this. We go on to this game number 6.
Yeah, Toronto, though, they rob everyone from a lead. Like, NTMR had a series lead against them in the upper bracket final. Look how that ended up. And same thing could happen here. You saw the map set, purple, red, purple, red. If the trend stays, Toronto Defiant should win this map, right? But I would give the edge to NTMR because they this is Esperanza, and they rolled TSM on this 123 to 62. And look how NTMR played when they went to New Jung City, a map they warmed up against TSM. Same thing. When they are confident, when they're warmed up on a map, there may no be stopping NTMR. But Toronto are just the comeback kings when it comes to a series.
Oh, we're going to roll out Toronto Defiant on dive. Someone with the Winston, RuPaul, Anna. Not as aggressive as the Zen Juno backline, but pretty aggressive regardless. No defensive ultimate, really. I guess Juno ult is half defensive, half offensive.
And now NTMR just going to understand that they don't want to push too close to that bridge. You're going to get dynamited by Merit. Ash, one of his specialties, how he was able, well, just as his can overall, how he took over New Queen Street to give Toronto Defiant the win there. But NTMR, if they make their way up the bridge, that's going to be scary business, especially with an Orisa. But someone's keeping Infected in check. And NTMR supports are playing extremely far back, not in diveable range, but someone dances around the pillar, could go unnoticed.
Oh, Sugarfree going really low there. Seeker almost got the kill. It's looking like Colosseo out here. How long it's taken to win these fights and find a pick. Probably just building up at this point towards a nano and /or the Juno orbital ray.
That too, and if Mara gets a really good dynamite, maybe body shot, gets someone low, someone could jump on that too, because, well, the dive can that close a lot faster than an Orisa can.
Oh,
yeah, nano first.
Rest in peace, Dynamite. And rest in peace, Seeker. Is he going to go down with that one? And you can see the differential in ultimate charge. Look at Admiral's ult charge right now. 42%. The Brig in these long extended fights with this open range and the way Toronto Defiant are playing so far back, the Brig can't step up. She cannot really heal. She can pack the Tracer, she can pack the Ash, sure, but she's not doing nearly as much healing as RuPaul and Vega are, so just a support ultimate advantage there, winning them the fight.
But the anti-grenades from RuPaul, I'm worried about how NTMR's going to deal with that, especially coming out of this choke. Like, they can't defend against it. And it'll be tough for them. See, someone's going to go past that Orisa.
Yeah, Nate does go in. Luckily for someone, to build out that primal already. Although he was trapped in that room for a brief moment, leaps away. Now the support ultimates are going to be online for Nightmare. They got Ginoa and they're close to rally. High ground control wanted by Infected. He's actually just going to look at the backline right now. Solo pushing. He's going to have to be careful. The Bob comes through from either side, kind of trading places. That Bob on the high ground is kind of dominating Infected in the 1v1 currently. Really nicely placed. There will be the bots being stolen by Zera, though, so it's going to force Toronto to reset in the mid.
Yeah, for Nightmare to break out of that when they could have been naded. They dealt with someone's primal. Now the lead not escaping them too much. Seeker, Big Bob to buy some space. Zera needs to get RuPaul uncomfortable, though.
Both orbital rays coming in. Well, one of them at least is Vega not choosing to use his. Very quick kills from the Seeker and Zera. RuPaul just went down. It's like disappeared like smoke in the air. Those Nightmare aren't going to be able to claim the lead now.
Seeker's having just a really good series, and to go up against Merit, who's known as just one of the most fearsome hit scans in the world, you wouldn't think a Seeker being able to match up against that just on paper, but it's how you perform on the day, and those headshots to kill RuPaul early is huge.
Oh, that nade was almost insane. Almost hit Seeker and Admiral there on that high ground. Oh, here comes the orbital ray. Infected is in the window currently, so has to rejoin the team in a moment. Ends up going golden to try and close the gap between him and the backline. Pulse bomb in the hands of Sugarfree as the bot is now slowly moving in favor of Toronto Defiant, although Nightmare are just going to try and force the issue here as RuPaul's caught out alone. Terror Surge to drag him away from the health pack, still ends up picking it up though. Is going to fully charge it, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide for RuPaul. Actually deploys the nano onto someone to make sure he can stay alive in the fight, but has to leap away. The fully charged up Terror Surge is nothing to scoff at, and that will be Nightmare getting the early checkpoint. 5.5 minutes. As Nightmare now reset to high ground.
Yeah, and RuPaul, I mean, when you're about to die, you don't have the time to decide, is this a good nano or not? It's let's try to turn this, let's do something. And unfortunately, that is wasted. Vega's on the Alari now, so it could do a bit more multitasking. They're holding more static positions, so this pylon can heal multiple targets, can't be shot as easily around this corner, especially if Nightmare keep taking these bridge fights. Now Vega can maybe help add to the DPS count that Toronto desperately needs to get some fights going.
There's an orbital ray from CJ here. I mean, you look at this on paper and you're like, yeah, Nightmare win this. They win this fight easily. Oh, RuPaul is so aggro. Bob coming in. RuPaul dodges out the way, drops to low ground on the point, holding that corner where that pylon is. Still has to be fearful as Zera's got the pulse bomb. Random Winston appeared in his face and someone's out of there. My word. Pulse in the hand still of Zera. Oh, and he sticks the Tracer. Oh my goodness. Sugarfree ends up going down. And it will be eventually Toronto Defiant finding success in that fight.
Salutations.
Especially with the dive. Finally, Toronto finding confidence to push that bridge side. Now they'll have a nano. Lariel, a lot for Toronto to go through, and forward spawns coming up. And if Toronto win this fight, they could very well take the lead. But with Infected close to Terror Surge, they'll hold this corner. Obviously, hope to deny this lead. You see the yellow line has passed the forward
what a shot.
so Nightmare have time to work with.
That's the checkpoint too. Yeah, this captive Sun. It's going to be hard for Seeker and like CJ Admiral, that trio, to hold in any one kind of position. They have to split up. And Seeker's dead as well. Toronto Defiant are going to take the lead. Just off of picks, no ults required.
That's a really tough fight for Nightmare to lose. Like, you could just play out of sight, playing around this corner, not let the hit scan from Toronto shoot at you from the bridge. So that's a very terrible fumble for Nightmare. And the lead now for Toronto with ults to spare. And Nano engage.
Captive Sun lands on the Juno, and there's the detonations. Seeker and CJ exploding. Damage from Toronto Defiant, especially with the dive, someone and Sugarfree. It's so easy to capitalize on that ultimate when it connects with supports. Now they're really letting the lead slip. Those Nightmare down 40 meters or so.
Yeah, this is a must-win fight for Nightmare. They may just get full capped on. It's not insurmountable lead, but it is difficult. 2.5 minutes. And Toronto are just playing that far back because it's so hard for an Orisa to approach with all the poke that Toronto have. Like, Infected is having a tough time holding space.
Yeah, and well, look. Oh, that was almost a one clip. All good. The right click from the Alari is going to heal the Ashe. And you can hold the high ground now, right? If you're Toronto. Oh, the bomb in the room. Oh, see ya, Seeker. Sorry, mate.
Oh my God.
Nothing personal. Quick push here from Toronto to find another pick would be perfect. I mean, look, actually, look where Infected is. He's got gold. Terror Surge actually going to get used. A little outburst there, and Zera's there with the follow-up. Orbital Ray deployed from CJ, but Sugar Free is still making this fight a little bit painful. That's a big ultimate used by Nightmare. Not exactly something they wanted to invest in this fight. 1 minute and 45 to go, and they're in an unbelievable deficit.
And Nightmare don't have all their players alive, so whoever is being able to be reinforced first, Nightmare have to be careful about their numbers here, especially with RuPaul having a nano. I thought he was going to pop it there, actually. Nightmare to stabilize, though, was huge. I'm okay with taking a risk of overusing ults, because if you lost there, Toronto would have extended the lead. You can't afford that.
High grounds with the rally popped. Someone's got the Primal Rage. They're probably just going to wait for this to... Oh, wow, okay. I was going to say, wait for it to wear out, but Seeker, Sugar Free, sorry, just wins the 1v1 against Zera. There's a Primal Rage for someone, too. I'm not sure Seeker was expecting this one. Yeah, goodbye, Seeker. Yeah, you can shoot all you want. You're not killing someone. Here's Admiral, a little bit late to the party. Didn't get the invitation on time. Stick onto someone, 19 HP, and again taken out, but it's okay, because we killed Infected too. And with 45 seconds to go, you're making 0 progress on the bot right now.
Good stat. I like the primal use from someone. It sounds stupid just going for a 1v1 there against the Ashe. It's not even an ego play. It's rather you're forcing stackers out of Nightmare so they can't get on the right foot. And they got a lot of work to do, 22 seconds, and they got to double their score. And Seeker can't even get up into the window without getting someone in his face. Zera's having a tough time getting these one clips, and that's a lot to ask from Zera.
I mean, this flank is disrespectful. A disrespectful captive son as well, knowing you had spear spin up, but it was worth the attempt. There's the Ray on the point, pushes Toronto Defiant back. Vegas still in the backline, mind you. Worth keeping that in mind. First Seeker's already down with the nano boosts and high ground control for someone. Terror Surge may have found merit, but I think this might just be over. 2 players on the point for Nightmare right now, but someone is alive and well. He's got the backup required to survive, you'd think. He ends up falling, but it's all Infected. Trying to push that bot, and now Zera in a 1v3. 2 supports and a Tracer to deal with, forces the recall, even the pylon as well. Absolutely no chance for the Tracer, no matter how good you are. Overtime ticks through, and that is going to be a Toronto Defiant win on Esperanza, sending us to a map number 7.
Well, this region's a lot more entertaining after our 4-0 sweep in EMEA. Ooh, we are sat ready to go. If Toronto keep forcing these maps where they get to play the dive and Nightmare could be more comfortable on the Orisa, just like on New Queen Street, Toronto dictates so much based on spacing. They play as far back as possible and then let kind of Nightmare sit out in the open. Toronto trusts their DPS. They trust Mare to land every dynamite on Infected. He can't hold any space, and as soon as that window of Infected stepping into cover, Toronto focused down Seeker and Zera. Seeker can't take an off angle on Ashe. He's got a Winston in his face of all people. So, and Zera then has to solo while the rest of his team are tempoing back, and Tracer really needs like a team effort to kind of help things. Zera can't do it all. So yeah, really good understanding. And Toronto, they keep forcing these maps of dive the Orisa. It's gonna work out for them. But it is Nightmare's choice now for our final one.
The scriptwriters couldn't have written this any better, honestly. A rematch of a back-and-forth series in that upper bracket. It was literally you win one, we win one, you win one. It's exactly the same as you can see down there. A final map heading our way in just a moment. Map number 7. We're going to jump to the desk, get their final thoughts before we round it out.
Thank you so much, Jen and Jack. Desk back in action. We have some stuff to unpack. I feel like we are repeating ourselves because it always comes down to exactly the same talking points. If we're looking at all the maps that we've seen so far from both of these teams, I do feel though Toronto Defiant, they changed the tempo a little bit in this very map.
Yeah, it's a battle of concepts, as we've been saying. But this map really shifted once Vega pulled out that Alari, which is comfort pick of his. They strayed away from the Juno. And yeah, Toronto wants to put someone and RuPaul on more of a higher skill expression characters. They like the Winston, they like the Ana. It doesn't feel good having a player of RuPaul's caliber playing Brig the entire time. That's not utilizing his skill set to his fullest potential. So whenever they can put him on this Ana or the Baptiste that he's known for, whatever character it is, but here in this meta, the Ana to counter the Orisa compositions, that's something they're more comfortable with.
Or someone on the Orisa.
Yeah.
That's the same
Maybe
problem,
not.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, him playing the Winston is also the same kind of argument. Is you want him to play something a little more.
And it's also, I mean, not the exactly same way, but one of the ways they turned it around yesterday was that they were letting Nightmare, push aggressive, and then we can get into the backline and work around it. And it's a similar kind of thing here. We're going to let Infected. He will be a presence on the bot, of course, because Orisa, there's no one to contest him on that bot, right? But instead, we're going to look for anti-nades, we're going to look for dives, and we'll find the picks that way. And that is really when Toronto Defiant are the most effective. So, like Jack pointed out, loser map pick here, it's so strong because you get to play the game your style, right? And so now we're heading to map 7 after a fantastic series so far.
Yeah, but that also means that Nightmare, they're obviously going to pick something now where dive is probably not as viable, Danny.
I feel like now, because this is loser's pick, and throughout now we're at 3-3, but it was the team that had to choose the map was the team that won, right? So if we're following that rule, it's Nightmare's pick. And if Nightmare picks a map that they're more favorable on, it should be Nightmare getting the win.
Okay, I overcooked a little bit going into this break. But we're gonna hate this.
All right, let's hear it.
What if you overcooked and went to like Hanaoka?
I don't hate it. You can't really play dive on these maps. With how fast-paced they are, you can't play this slow, methodical style of like the Ana Alari, which they just shown. They literally can't play like that. As you can see,
so scared to go to Clash Map 7 when it's your pick.
It is very.
I feel like it does.
It's a gamble, and if you have nothing to lose, if SNR is really preaching his words and say there's nothing to lose here, we're not playing for anything. There's no egos here. Why not?
Exactly. Also, as you just saw in the graphic, like the map types are unlocked again. Now you can't repeat the same map that we've seen before, but you can go back to a map type that may be favoring your style.
Yeah, and going into this map, it's been unveiled to us.
Clash.
It's going to be Legion and Tower. I gotta say, Caleb, obviously, you can play meta on some points, but I feel like this pick also gives opportunity for Toronto Defiant to force different kinds of looks, whether it's Night Market, putting RuPaul on Ana on a high ground and Sugar Free on the Pharah, or change things up on Garden, for example, put Sugar Free on the Pharah there. So this is going to be really interesting.
It'll be real interesting to see if Toronto goes to the meta. I highly doubt it, but this is traditionally known as a rush map. So
it is, yeah.
they will have to play Orisa or some sort of brawl tank at some point. You can't just force Winston.
Yeah, but different points allow for different looks to be displayed and taken advantage of. Let's see if Nightmare can close this one out and take the crown away from Toronto Defiant, or if our defending champion can do it back to back to back to back. Let's find out as we're sending it over to Jen and Jack.
Well, we'll see if it's back to back to back to back. So Nightmare and Toronto Defiant 3-3 in this series. A final map here. We're gonna end it on Lijiang Tower. Ilios, they'd love to go there again. Trust me. They want to play dive. They want to go fast. And like Caleb said, Toronto Defiant don't want to play rush. They want to play dive. And they're going to play an aggressive style at that with the Alari coming out from Vega.
Nightmare always pick Lijiang Tower as their first map, usually being the #1 seed, and they've won it almost every single time except once they lost to TSM, and they're just a weird team to play against sometimes, very unconventional. You have Zera on the Pharah. Merit, though, that Ashe hits very hard, so Zera's got to be careful.
Oh,
goodbye, RuPaul.
That's going to be good for a first cap. Vega went down too early. Seeker, a couple of nice shots. This Alari is can be deadly, right? If you set up with the Alari, the poke is a little insane, and crossing that gap with the Alari shooting at you, the Ashe shooting at you could be tough, but actually getting into a position where you can do that is exceptionally hard now. Looks like a white room rotation here for Toronto. Or they're actually going to split with someone on the bridge. Vega being more of a solo operator.
Not a lot of teams like to run the Winston here. If there's going to be any dive, it's usually a Hammond that has a lot more health and kind of want to displace the other team. Someone's going to have a really tough time brawling. He's going to be accessible, but
Adabu's coming in, but here comes the orbital ray from CJ on the point too. So even if someone wanted to stick around, he probably shouldn't. A damage amplification, no good against the orbital ray with 4 people standing inside of it. The bridge firmly in control of Infected right now. He's being a good bouncer, not letting anybody in without any ID. Here comes the Bob.
Just the nano engage not working out, but Bob makes his way through.
It does, but is this really going to create the space that they need? It looks like Nightmare do end up walking back towards White Room. High Noon is going to force someone away, but a pick at least comes through. Captive Sun coming in. Oh, what a shot onto Sugar Free. Infected takes down Merit, but Vega is still alive with his Primal Rage. I mean, Toronto Defiant need to win this fight. It's 75% as Vega used the outburst to take care of Seeker.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right comp for Toronto. They may win here, but it took 80+% to get this
Vega dies. Seeker just props himself up, double jumps, glides through the window, and just gats down Vega with the Glock. Toronto Defiant now having to face up against this rally. Oh no! Oh, Zera! And Nano Winston off the edge with RuPaul to boot. Nightmare have just won the round. Zera single-handedly stopping Toronto Defiant in their tracks, booping me off the bridge.
Locking satellite vector.
That just someone could not hold any space with the nano both times, pushed off the map, and Toronto had to take the bridge fight. You can't push White Room with a Winston, and then Zero hits a concussive blast to knock one of the supports off, and as soon as Toronto got any footing on a decent enough dive to be in the open area, then Nightmare just retreat to the point behind the other half of the point. And even when someone bubbled off Infected, he's not worried. He knows he could bully Winston out of a bubble. This comp gap only worked in Toronto's favor when you had a large enough map. That was just not the right comp, but now they're going to the Orisa mirror on Control Center. It's going to be a lot better.
Mirror comps. Not what Toronto really want to play. They want to play that dive. They know they're strong. They know they're better than Nightmare on it. The Nightmare in this mirror, it's just looked clean. And Zera, we kind of spoke to death about Seeker. We do most often. But Lemon, you as well have been just singing the praises of Zera this entire time. Every single time we see Nightmare on the screen. Very forward position, confident position from Nightmare, taking the server control.
No kills though. This is not comfortable for Nightmare. They may cap a Toronto, or they're the contest.
On a nice little off angle. Hard to hit people when they're going through that little speed ring, but spots a low health brick. Oh, what a spear! And a headshot too from Seeker. That's first fight done.
Wow. What a spear. Infected popping off, and now they can hold close. And that was after orbital rays are exchanged, so Deadeyes could help Toronto walk in. Nightmare have always been good with spacing. They're okay with letting Toronto walk in. These DPS really got to stand out. This is game 7, and Toronto already on a back foot at a round disadvantage.
Rallies for both sides. RuPaul 3% away. Nightmare slowly just baiting Toronto in. High Noon's popped as well. Here comes the push. Deflect comes in. Nice bash coming through from RuPaul. Killing Seeker. Here comes the Terror Surge. The damage to follow. What a bash. That's what you want to see out of your Brig. Both rallies expended as Toronto get the team kill.
Big risk for Nightmare. You have two choices during a Deadeye. You hide or you fight, and they decided to fight through it, but Toronto protected Merit, the Golden Goose, to pull Toronto through that fight. And now you got Dragon Blades. Is Toronto gonna respect that space? Be careful of who has server side or who decides to go through coast, because the Genjis don't want to just front faces. They want to try and surprise the backline and ignore this Orisa if they can.
No Terror Surge for Toronto Defiant here, so they're gonna start off the fight with an orbital ray. A blade's gonna get popped as well. That's a big flashbang, stops everybody from moving. A reset from Sugar Free does find 2. Looks like Nightmare also throwing in their Terror Surge, thinking they can grasp hold of this fight. Sugar Free down for Toronto, but they're still marching on. A split up backline for Nightmare, as we see CJ chase off onto a different angle.
Nightmare feeling the pressure, not wanting to respond with their own orbital ray. Zero pops the blade, gets nothing for it. Toronto love being able to win that fight, but CJ, this has to be a big ray to help. Deadeye from Merit. Nightmare not going to make the same mistake they're hiding.
Down, Spear Spin absorbs that High Noon, and here comes the push. Nightmare in the orbital ray, too much damage. And that will have to suffice for Toronto Defiant, 62%.
Smart for them to just hide away from the Deadeye. Javelin spin, orbital ray, run it down, bulldoze Toronto Defiant. Terra Surge, though, available for Toronto. While a Seeker Deadeye, Toronto have the same decision. Do you want to fight? Can you get your Orisa close enough for a Terra Surge? Punishing these Cassidys is everything.
High Noon for Seeker too, so if they do want to back up, they can. As long as he doesn't get dragged into the Terra Surge, he's all good. Toronto Defiant stepping up. They've got the orbital ray, but can they get the point for free? Doesn't look like it as the Terror Surge ends up coming in. A good spear onto Seeker cancels the ultimate, but Zera's already down. Seeker does take an off angle, but the overwhelming amount of damage is going to annihilate Infected. Nightmare with 85 and a bit percent. We'll call it 87. As Toronto Defiant now push up to the doors. They've got ults, but can they live up to Nightmare's double support ult coming up soon?
Toronto are so good at protecting Merit. He's just going to stack on top of his team. He doesn't have to take an off angle. Even when he does, Merit knows when he can go unnoticed on server side. That's how Toronto won the first fight. A lot of big ults. Deadeye first.
High Noon pushing people back, making it last fight. You cannot go down to this, and you cannot overstep if you're Merit. Spear goes a little bit wide, and they're going to make a push. There's the Terror Surge. The bash is good. Merit ends up going pretty low, but the overhealth is decent for the Cassidy. Sugar Free pops the blade, gets bashed. Someone has to touch here for Nightmare, and they're going to be doing it. They are slowly capping the point, but eventually your teammates are just going to fall. Zera's got the blade solo on the last point here, but Toronto Defiant, they got a three-man squad now rocking up. No blade for the Genji, as the flip is going to come through from Toronto Defiant. Seeker jumps over to the Sim, but it's not going to be enough to push in. As a 5v3 now, as a TP bomb for the Sim doesn't end up working out. And Toronto Defiant now just have to get away from this blade. They're going to keep this fight going for a moment longer, but there's no backup left. Nightmare, they're going to get taken to a third round. We're going the distance.
Jesus, round 3, game 7 for the returning champs or for a new crown for Nightmare. And it's Sugar Free stepping up big against the Rally Brig in his face. Sugar Free lives on. Critical kills for Toronto Defiant. And getting back and being okay with ignoring the point. Keep the fight focused. It all comes down to Night Market. And who? Is it going to be Merit Seeker on the Widow, or are they going to stick to something safe like the Cassidy? Merit's been just so well protected by Toronto Defiant. And now you got the Genji matchup where they could climb over the walls. They could access that back line. Yep, Widow from Seeker, Merit with the Ashe.
Seeker's gone just absolutely insane on this Widowmaker. As of late.
Oh my god.
Well, that is one way to start off the map with a heater like that. My goodness,
oh my god, Seeker looking like Merit out here, and that's a big risk to go Widow on this map with a Sugar Free, one of the best gadgets we have in North America on the field, and he's gonna sit back, and Sugar Free may explore these corridors to sneak up on Seeker. You cannot let Seeker go for free, or Toronto need to pull the fight towards the point.
There's on the Cassidy now. Doesn't want to play too far away. Just playing with the rest of the team. It's going to be good for their squad. They know if they don't give Seeker a line of sight, oh, they're just, okay, they're just running him to spawn. Another good option. Maybe Seeker swaps here. No, doesn't look like it. At least not for the time. 4v5 on the point. Trying to find with a man advantage now. Going to try and push into the back line. Looks like Nightmare are doing a good job of waylaying the damage for the time being, but CJ does end up going down first. Seeker now in the line of sight in a good spot, but doesn't look like Toronto Defiant are going to give him a chance to land a clutch headshot. As the point will eventually get flipped, but It's taken a fair bit of time, to be fair. All right, Seeker popping the sights there. I would say probably a bit of a mistake because you do get the 15% or so ult charge when you do swap, but it might not be that consequential. There it is, there it is. The Cassidy's going to come through.
Yeah, it was just how fast these teams are playing. I like the Cassidy picks better. Even Merit swapped to that too. A Hinder grenade could be another option to shut down a Genji. It's Toronto now out in the open towards the point. Nightmare going through the corridors, trying to go unnoticed. Now you got the orbital raise, but Vega up first by 10%. Toronto are okay wasting time. They have the point, and they're encroaching on that lead soon.
High Noon around the side. Spear spin, rallies, Terror Surge is brought in. Everybody's in the line of sight of Merit. He's going to charge forward with reckless abandon, but he's going to get dealt with. Zera pops the blade in amongst the Ray, and Toronto Defiant. They just can't stand up to the damage, not without the rally. As RuPaul at 99% before he got that ult online, they end up losing the fight and the point.
Jesus, Nightmare with the later ults, the Terra Surge, Zero Blade in the heat of the moment, but the added rally, like you said, the extra health, the survivability Nightmare needed to pull through. Now at 60+%, the longer this goes, Nightmare may just be close to their last fight.
Someone's going to notice him finally. They do! Oh, a mistake! Those are best left unavoided. A good corner check there from Toronto Defiant to kill the Cassidy straight up, but they've easily made it even as Infected takes down Merits. RuPaul swinging away at the front line with the rally. A couple of stuns here and there. The pack's thrown out too. The sustain is good and the counter bash as well on Admiral. They need to kill this brig. No more kills can be afforded here for Toronto Defiant. They're going to clean up. Nightmare in one fight scenario as they get 89%.
Yeah, spotting Seeker. You cannot get away with that cheese again, not like you did on New Junk City. Toronto Defiant in the driver's seat and able to make it back after a huge ult fight previously favored Nightmare. But an earlier orbital ray from CJ, maybe expecting an exchange from Vega, Terra Surge earlier from someone, as Nightmare can't afford to waste any time, but Toronto are holding it down, bunkering down on the point. This is the final fight for Lijiang Tower.
Orbital Ray in a rally advantage here for Admiral. Looks like Toronto want to go first. High Noon's coming out. What a deflect from Sugarfree though. Seeker's already down. The blade has been popped. RuPaul falls as Sugarfree just carving them asunder. Nightmare are going to fall as Toronto Defiant. They're going to defend their throne against Nightmare. A 7-map series going all the way to 3 rounds as they manage to do it. Toronto Defiant win it all. Stage after stage, they will not be deposed.
And just like their previous matchup, you can go toe-to-toe with Toronto Defiant, but they'll always take the lead back. All roads lead to Toronto Defiant, your stage winners once again. But the competition catching up to go to Game 7, Round 3, for Toronto to beat Nightmare on their best control map. Lijiang Tower, Sugarfree going absolutely sicko mode at the end through all of the chaos that was that fight. All Sugarfree saw was red. But Nightmare, the best showing we've seen. You gotta commend them, especially Seeker, one of the best Canadian talents we have, to go up against Toronto Defiant, to put someone like Merit in his place throughout that series. I've been nothing but entertained. Big congratulations to
This is
Toronto.
really just the biggest rivalry, I think, at this point in North American Overwatch. Toronto Defiant versus Nightmare. Kind of like Crazy Raccoon versus Team Falcons over in the East, just 2 Goliaths of the game going at each other. A 7-map series going all the way to 3 rounds. We've even got the final comms as well from those last few moments. We'll take a listen.
Gas. We're going. Okay, heal any.
트레이서, 언니 트레이서.
Can you go trade? Not over.
Wait, 언니 트레이서?
And they did it once again, back to back to back to back. But quite frankly, they were sweating for this one.
I'm sweating.
My hand is
I have
sweating.
goosebumps.
Oh my God.
This was an out-of-body experience.
That
for all of us.
sugar-free deflect at the end, we were like holding in screams. We were like, oh!
Feels like we
so clutch.
Oh my God.
This was incredible. Like absolutely incredible. Yes, Nightmare, a heartbreaking defeat here, but so much to be proud of.
Oh yeah.
They played this so close. So yesterday was not a fluke. It wasn't Toronto. No. This is Nightmare punching up. In fact, this is not even Nightmare punching up. They just punch straight. Like that's what we saw right there over a 7-map series.
Yeah, there was so much conversation going into this tournament about who's the second best team in North America right now. Is it Energy Shock or is it Nightmare? I think there's a firm, solid answer right now. This is as close as Toronto's ever been pushed. I think Nightmare is currently in the second seat right now.
We're so back. NA is so back. After Korea, we have Falcons, Grace Raccoon, EMEA, we have Space Station and ENDS. And now it seems like in NA, we have Toronto Defiant and Nightmare really giving them a run for their money here. Just an incredible series all around. And really, oh my God, this map 7 as well to close things out. I think one thing we have to really talk about here is it looks towards the end like Seeker is hiding on the Cassidy, but he has to go for that play because they don't have any ultimates, and it really was something they had to do, and it didn't work out their favor. I don't think that Nightmare threw away this series. I honestly believe the last 2 fights that Toronto, they really clutched it up, Caleb.
Yeah. Nightmare was playing to win, and when you're playing against a powerhouse like Toronto, having the confidence and the understanding to know, hey, we're down in ultimate, they have the rally, we have nothing, we need to make a play, and actually trying to execute it, that is commendable. That is not something that should be shied away from. I think Seeker and Nightmare, they made the right play there. It just didn't work out in their favor. Incredibly close, man. Yeah. But here we see it, and the counterpart, Merritt, he was incredible.
He's always incredible.
The Cassidy on Control Center, he had high noon seemingly every fight he seemed to have it. And then obviously he pulled up the Sombra, capable of being flexible to counter the
Widow on the Gibraltar.
This Widowmaker play on Gibraltar was incredible. There was pixel headshots against the other Widow. He was getting 5Ks left and right. I mean, he absolutely took over this map. This was his map.
Oh my God.
And we were saying in the green room that Gibraltar was Merritt's map, period. That's it. And also towards the end, of course, it's just the things that this guy pulls off is just amazing. That's why he's, in Toronto Defiant along with his teammates, such a great hit scan player.
Wow.
I'm just so happy. The series went all the way. Almost every player on both of these rosters had their moment in the sun. They all had their moments to come in clutch and do a lot of work for their teams. So we have so many talented players to highlight here on both of these squads. Couldn't have asked for a better grand finals in our NA region.
Just an amazing grand final, and really
really
got a feel for Nightmare coming up short, but that is some kind of motivation because Nightmare is a team that has heavily invested in the scene. They've been trying to build up this reputation of challenging globally, right? Taking it to EMEA, taking it to Korea. And I think this match, this run in stage 4, really proves that Nightmare, they're one step closer now to being, the kings of North America. They just couldn't close it out.
That's so exciting. If you're looking at those top 2 slots for all the regions, then everything will be competitive. It's not like you have one throwaway team. Before it was like Toronto and then NA sends another team, I guess. Now it's no, both NA spots are actually held from a team that can compete seriously with both EMEA and the Asian region as well.
Yeah, shout out to the Nightmare as an org as a whole. They've been super invested into Overwatch and OWCS, and I want to give a special shout out to Seeker. This year, it started with the M80 fiasco. He lost his job. He was on some of the worst teams in OWCS, and him and Zara, they teamed up and they slowly built a roster, and they've just gotten better and better and better, and they were one team fight away from winning a grand finals. That has to feel, even if it feels horrible right now, but looking back on it, I hope, Seeker, you get some perspective. Incredible, man. I'm also super proud of Nightmare.
Also, Nightmare had to play, 10 maps?
Yes.
That's a lot of
Had to have been exhausting.
And you guys still pulled it off until the very end. I think that is something that you guys should be very proud of, and I'm very excited for Stockholm.
That's right. I'm also very happy that we have a winner interview ready for you, and we, thanks to Danny, have an opportunity now to talk to Merritt and someone Congratulations, you guys. Welcome to the show.
여러분 다시 이렇게 봐서 너무 좋고요. 일단 축하드립니다. Alright, I think I'm gonna start off with an easy question, the low-hanging fruit. That is always my question. You guys are the back-to-back champions, 4 stages. I mean, what do you guys have to say to that? How are you guys feeling? 자, 제가 쉬운 질문부터 하겠습니다. 두 분께. 일단 스테이지 1부터 4까지 전체 전 우승을 하시면서 4번의 챔피언이 되셨는데 어떻게 일단 소감 한 말씀씩 부탁드릴게요. 메릿 선수부터 갈까요?
메리트다. 그냥 기분 좋고요. 그냥 해야 되는 걸 한 것 같아서 그냥 그저 그렇습니다.
Merit says that it just feels good. It just feels like it's something that we had to do anyways, but we got it done. Alright, someone, how about you? 서먼 선수는요?
저는 당연히 저희가 이겨낸다 생각했는데 이렇게 4대3까지 몰랐고 근데 4대3에서 이기니까 생각보다 기분이 많이 좋네요.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like this was, of course, us getting the win, but we really didn't expect that it was going to be this close. Getting the 4-3 win against a Nightmare, we really didn't expect it, but I think that's why it feels extra good, I guess, because it was so close.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had to work for that victory. This is the second time in 2 days that you have to play against Nightmare. Both matches felt close. Did you feel like the match yesterday, that was just a fluke? Was that just... Did you just ignore that happened and then you got surprised today that it was close again?
이번이 이제 두 번째로 어떻게 보면 나이트메어 어제와 오늘 연속으로 지금 똑같은 팀과 이렇게 다시 붙게 됐는데 이렇게 계속 가깝게 접전이었던 게 좀 나이트메어 쪽에서 좀 운이었다고 생각을 하시는지 아니면은 좀 개인적인 의견으로 좀 어떠신가요? 메리트 선수.
일단 상대가 생각보다 잘한 것도 있고 이제 저희가 실수한 게 많아서 그렇게 된 것 같습니다.
Yeah. Of course, Nightmare is a really good team, but at the same time, I think we also made a lot of mistakes in game today as well. All right, and next someone.
일단 나이트메어가 이번에 메타를 굉장히 잘 파악한 것 같고 그리고 솔직히 말해서 저희가 오늘 졌어도 이상하지 않은 그건데 이상하지 않은 이제 경기 흐름에 진행이 됐었는데 그래도 뭐 저희가 잘해서 이긴 것 같습니다.
Nightmare, I honestly believe that Nightmare had a really good read on the current meta that we were playing. And also, so because of that, it wouldn't have been weird if they got the win against us today. But at the same time, we did beat them. We were the better, and that's how we got the win.
So I can talk a little more openly and freely, as you guys are my ex-players. Hi, fellas. Congratulations. You guys have your DPS on Comfort Heroes, the Cassidy and the Genji for Sugar Free and for Merit. For the other roles, what took you guys so long to kind of understand and play this meta to a high level?
일단 뭐 예전에 같이 일했기 때문에 좀 이렇게 편하게 얘기한다고 하네요. 우리 또 맥그레이비 님께서 일단 축하드리면서 당연히 이제 딜러 쪽은 계속 잘하는 예전부터 계속 보여준 어떻게 보면은 영웅들로 계속 플레이를 했지만은 좀 어떻게 다른 롤들 다른 뭐 탱커나 아니 서포트 쪽에서 좀 어떤 게 지금까지 이렇게 오기까지 좀 이렇게 제일 힘들었는지 이 조합을 계속 짜면서. I'm guessing that's only for someone then, or
for either.
For either? 뭐 둘 중에 한 분.
일단은 이게 조합이 사실상 피지컬도 피지컬인데 팀적 합이 좀 중요시되는 메타라고 생각하거든요.
서문 선수 잠시만요. 다시 시작할 수 있을까요? Sorry guys, I couldn't hear someone. Can you? Yeah, sorry. One more time.
이번 메타는 개인적인 피지컬이 아니라 팀 합이 필요한 조합이라고 생각해서 조금 이제 궁극기를 쓰더라도 같이 아니면은 팀원의 도움을 받아서 이렇게 쓰거나 그냥 각자의 플레이가 아닌 팀 합을 좀 중요시해서 좀 한 것 같아요.
I think the best way to describe this current meta or the composition that a lot of teams are playing right now, it's not really about individual skill sets, it's a lot about teamwork. It's not using solo ulting or like using your ult for yourself. It's really in cohesion with your team when you sort of engage in a fight with your teammates to utilize those ults together. Is what makes a really big difference.
Looking ahead, you're not qualified #1 seed for the World Finals, and both of you, if you count the Overwatch League last year, you are the reigning world champion. What will you have to do to protect your title in Stockholm in about a month's time? Starting with you, Merit.
자, 메리 선수부터 일단 이제 한 달 후에 이제 스톡홈의 드림맥으로 이제 가시게 될 텐데 1위 시드도 지금 이제 우리 북미 쪽에서 럭기는 했고 어떻게 하면 이거를 계속 이 좋은 이거 어떻게 해야 되지? 어떻게 설명해야 되지? 어떻게 하면 계속 이렇게 1위로 계속 좋은 기운을 가지고 들어갈 수 있을 거라고 생각하시나요?
일단 이제 저희가 이제 휴가를 받는데 이제 충분히 쉬고 이제 또 연습 몰두하면은 그렇게 될 것 같습니다.
Yeah. Definitely, we are going to take a big break, and after that, I think the most important part, another important part, is really getting those practices. Yeah, and someone?
일단은 저희가 북미에서는 왕이긴 하지만 사우디 컵이나 아니면 이제 댈러스에서 성적이 이제 그닥 좋다고 우승을 못했기 때문에 그닥 좋다고 생각 안 하기 때문에 도전자의 마음으로 이제 한국 팀 그리고 유럽 팀들 잡으러 가겠습니다.
Yeah. We are definitely the king of NA, but that's not the case for any other region. In the Saudi Cup or even in DreamHack Dallas, we weren't really happy with our outcome. So I think I am going to go into this, I guess, Stockholm with a challenger mentality and try to beat both EU and Asia as well.
Love to hear it. Thank you both so much. Once again, congratulations on the victory, and we can't wait to see you again in Stockholm. Goodbye, guys.
Congrats, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
GG.